looking for elephants. That's actually our plan today, is elephants, and then hopefully some lions, maybe a bit later. The Nkuhumas need to come back home now. We miss them dearly. The Nkuhuma is our favorite lion pride, in case you've only just started watching us. And you're not sure as to who all the characters are just yet, but there's a way. If you have just started watching. Hornbill, you're going to have to move out the road, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just ask politely, seen as though this is their area. But like I said, there's actually a way if you want to catch up and have a look at, well, in the near future and learn about all the different characters from the Nkuhumas to the royal family and, of course, the cheetah brothers. And you can do this by tuning in every Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Nat Geo Wild channel. And we're doing an 8-part series with him. The next show on Sunday will be episode number 4. So you haven't missed too much in case you have, and you're going to decide to start watching. So we look forward to have you joining us. But I don't see any elephant tracks here, David. I think we're looking in the wrong spots. Normally Chele pan is a winner for animals. It's a nice big pan with lots and lots of water. Here's our friend the vulture again. And you can see he's just going, he's circling back around again. I don't know why he's coming here. Why is he here, David? Ask him. I wonder if it maybe hasn't been hanging around because we were about to get to where Karula was this morning. Actually, I'm not sure where she ended up staying put with that water monitor kill. I didn't get to see it, so I'm uncertain as to where they are, but maybe that's why this vulture's hanging around here. See, it doesn't want to leave. It wants to sit itself up on a tree and wait patiently. And remember, Byron's advice for the day was patience. And well, vultures are particularly good at being patient. Let's carry on. It's nice to have the warm weather back again. It's been so chilly, but I'm also looking forward to the rain. I thought you were eating a snack bar there, David, for a second. That's why I did a double take. I don't know why, I just saw you with a snack bar in your hand. Oh. Louise, I am on Twin Dams. Standing by. Also talking on the radio now, multitasking. Last mobile go again. James, I'm standing by for you. I just went past Chelepan. I'm on Twin Dams. I'm just going to go past Twin Dams itself, and then I'm going to just weave around Leadwood Mamba. No, negative. I'm looking for elephants. I had elephant tracks around here earlier today. I'm sorry, James, I don't even know what that last lock was. I had them when they were still on Gari Main. Right, we're going to say goodbye. We're about to start the show, so we'll chat to you in a moment.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a beautifully hot low-felt afternoon. My name is James Hendry, and this is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Hello, all of you little wonderful human beings at Windsor Oaks and Providence Elementary Schools, probably both in Virginia Beach as far as I'm aware. Wonderful to have you with us here on Safari. in the African summer. Isn't it a lovely day out here? And what we're going to be doing is driving down the road here, seeing what we can find, and hopefully at the end of this road there will be some little leopards and we'll be able to spend some time with them. If not, well, you know, this place has got some beautiful, beautiful creatures. Now, if you've never joined us before, and I don't think that's going to be the case, I'm pretty sure that all of you have been on a safari with us before, we're going to be looking for some of the big animals. We could see elephants, we could see buffalo, we could see lions and leopards maybe, but also we could see lots of little birds. And we're at the southern tip of Africa. Now, I wonder, if I gave you a map of the world, could you find where Africa is? I hope you could. If you can't, ask your teachers, they will show you where it is, because we're a very, very long way from you. And you can see that I'm dressed for summer. It's very nice here in summertime, and unlike you, where it's winter, of course. Now, you must ask as many questions as you like. You can talk to us through your teacher, and she will tell us exactly what your questions are, or he. I think you're all being taught by she's at the moment, and we will talk about all the things that you want to regarding safari. My friend Byron is also out here. He's walking around on foot. He's very brave today. And Taylor is driving off in that direction there, and she is looking for elephants. So hopefully we will have some luck. She's probably going to go to the water holes, because that's where the elephants go when it's very hot like this. Hello, Jocelyn. You want to know how the animals survive? Well, Jocelyn, I want you to think quite carefully about how you survive. What do you think that's important in your life that enables you to survive? And I'll tell you, it's exactly the same thing. So the things that you need to survive are food. Right, good. So we can look around here, and if I'm an impala, which is a kind of an antelope, you can see that there's lots and lots for me to eat. I could be eating leaves from trees or leaves of grasses. And then the other thing you need, of course, is shelter. Now, we as human beings, you can see we don't have much fur on our hands or all over our bodies, do we? And so we have to live in homes, in houses. But out here, the animals have all got fur, and that means that they don't need a home to live in at all. They've got a home here, and that's all they need to survive. So they've got shelter themselves. Sometimes they'll use a thick bush for shelter, and they've got food all around them. And then the other thing that you need is, of course, some water. You need water. And water, I'll show you some here, at this time of the year, Jocelyn, is all over the place, because it's our rainy season. And so although there are not huge amounts of water around, you get little pans like that little pond over there. Can you see that little pond? There we are. And some animals will come and drink from that. So there's water, and there's food, and there's enough shelter out here. And those are exactly the same things that you need to survive, Jocelyn. You need to eat your meals twice or 3 times a day. You need a home to live in that's nice and warm. And you also, especially in wintertime, and you also need water to drink. Oh, look at that. Very special bird up there. That bird, everyone, is a batalier. A batalier is a special, special kind of a bird. And if we look at it carefully, you can see that it's trying to balance. Can you see that? You know, when you try and balance and you're walking on a rope or trying to balance on a fence or something like that, you swing your arms from side to side, and that bird does exactly the same thing, because it finds it quite difficult to balance in the air. All right, let's head across to my friend Byron. He's on foot, and he wants to say hello to you, and he's going to tell you what he's going to do this afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Rian. And then we've also got Herbert, who's going to be walking with us. Now, we are on a bush walk, so we're walking through this area, having a look for any signs of small insects or maybe tracks of animals we might want to find. Now, while I've been walking, it's a very hot or warm afternoon. It's very, very nice. I've got a hat and sunscreen on. But what I did find along the way, which I'd like to show you, is some fruit. So I've got a little snack with me. Now, I'm not sure if some of you have seen this before. This is a little marula fruit. Now, these beautiful big marula trees, and I'll show you, there's one actually very close to us, right next to us over here. Nice big marula tree. And And this is the tree that we get the fruit from. And just remember, don't pick up any fruit in the bush and eat it. Always make sure you know exactly what it is, or have somebody that is a professional that knows what the fruit is, that can tell you what to eat and what is poisonous. You have to be very careful. These are good for us to eat. Very rich in vitamin C. And you know which animals love these? And I'm going to be looking for those animals this afternoon. It's the elephant, the African elephant. Now let me show you how you actually eat these fruit. And what you do is you actually bite into it and you tear the skin off. Oh, that is so sweet. Very, very nice. This is a lovely ripe one. And you suck the juice out of it. They actually have a very large pip inside. I'm going to try peel the skin off. The fruit, well, there's not too much fruit on it actually, but it's very, very sweet. Let me see if I can get the whole one in. There we go. Very juicy, very, very sweet, a little bit sour, but that is delicious. A lovely little bush snack for us. So that's given me some energy now, so I'm going to be walking around looking for elephant, and who knows what other animals we might find, and especially the little insects. While I'm walking, James is on the vehicle, and another friend of ours is also on a vehicle, and that's Taylor, and she wants to say hello.
I think that's the first time Byron has ever called me his friend. Today is a good day. Hello, everyone. Now, you're looking at a very, very scared bird up in that tree. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me is David. Now, if you listen very carefully, you can hear this bird shouting. So this is a crested francolin, and what this bird is doing is it's alarm calling. Normally, these birds don't sit in the tops of trees. They walk around on the ground and behave very much like a chicken. But something has upset it. Maybe a raptor, a bird of prey, maybe a snake that's up in the tree that we just can't see because it's so camouflaged. But I'm scanning, we're checking the leaves, we're checking the branches to see if we can see anything moving around. But whatever it is, you don't often see these francolins this angry. And it's jumped high up into the tops of the trees, so it must have been very scared. Normally they'll just sit up on a smaller shrub. There was also another one wandering around that looked a little bit relaxed too. Hello, Dominique. Now, Dominique, you're wondering how close can we get to the animals? Dominique, it depends. Normally what we do is we park a distance away and then we let the animals approach us if they are comfortable. But I suppose that you can also drive up to them. For instance, lions are pretty relaxed around the vehicles, so you can get relatively close. So now I have a question for all of you. Are you ready? It involves maths. So you're going to have to ask your teacher to help you. I just want to turn, very quickly, want to turn this radio off. Let's turn that right down. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we can drive and we can park normally. If a pride of lions is sitting down on the ground, we can park about 20 meters away from the lion. So my question to all of you is, what is 20 meters in miles? So you're going to have to ask your teacher to send through the questions. You're going to have to find out what the conversion is from meters to feet, not miles, feet. I mean feet. Thank you, Louise. I'm distracted by the bird alarming. I mean feet, so you're going to have to figure out that one is, and then you're going to have to let me know, because I'm also learning the distances in the different, with the different conversions. And I don't know why this bird is so upset. I've searched this tree. I can't see any snakes. I can't see any raptors. And I can't see anything on the ground. I'm trying to also look where this bird is shouting, but it keeps moving around quite a bit. Now, Riley, you would like to know, what do these birds eat? Riley, these birds are really funny to watch because you'll often see them going through the animal's dung and picking up bits of seeds. They'll eat insects. Some of their favorite food is actually termites. They love to eat the termites, but they'll really eat any insects, and then occasionally they'll pick up the odd little seed as well. but mainly insectivorous. Are we going to leave this bird in peace and hopefully it decides to relax, because it is very stressed out at the moment? But James has got one of Africa's most dangerous animals. Let's go take a look.
Well, I suppose it is a little bit dangerous at times, and that's normally when it feels afraid, because as you all know, when you feel afraid, then you can also be quite dangerous. You can imagine on the playground, if somebody is threatening you or pushing you around, you might be scared for a while, but eventually you're going to get angry, aren't you? And you're going to fight back. Well, that's just the same as these buffalo. This is a wonderful sighting of buffalo who are wallowing in the mud and in the water because it's a very hot afternoon. I think it's probably sitting at around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And Langdon, as we were talking to Jocelyn earlier, you are wondering what all the animals eat. Well, it depends on the animal. So we've got two different kinds of animal here. We've got birds. Those are called Egyptian geese. They eat algae, and algae is a kind of a green slime that grows on the top of water. Then, next to them, of course, we've got the beautiful buffalo bulls, and they eat grass just like cows. They're sort of Africa's equivalent of cows. And then, just on top of the buffalo, we've got there some oxpeckers, and those oxpeckers are eating ticks. So just in that one little picture that you've got right there, we've got a grass eater, a tick eater, and an algae eater. So it really does depend. Then, of course, we're looking for leopards, and we are hoping to find some. They eat meat. Lions eat meat. Hyenas eat bones and meat. Everything out here will find something nice to eat. Now, I have had a report that there could be a leopard very close by to here, and that she may have killed something. So I think we're going to go almost straight away along and see if we can't find that leopard. Oh, let's wait. We'll wait here a little bit. Providence Elementary School, you're wondering why those animals are in the water. Well, what do you do when it's very hot? Chaps, when you're very hot there, I know you don't feel like that now because it's winter, but you jump into the water, don't you, to have a swim? And that's exactly what these buffalo are doing. They're having a lovely swim there because it's very hot here, and like I said, about 85 degrees Fahrenheit out here. Sorry, Evan, I missed your question. What was your question again? Louise will give it to me. Ah, you're wondering what makes these buffaloes scared. Well, the thing that makes the buffalo scared the most is probably the thing that would make you scared the most out here, and that's lions. Lions make buffalo very scared, but there are no lions around here. Otherwise, the buffalo would be standing up and they'd be looking into the bushes and they'd be going to show that they were very afraid of the lions. But you can see that chap's just chewing the cud. And chewing the cud means he's actually eating his lunch for the second time. So he chewed it the first time, he grazed it, he picked it, and he swallowed it down into his stomach. And then, now this is going to make you say, ew. Then he vomited it up into his mouth, and he's chewing it again, because that's how all of the ruminants eat. And the ruminants are the buffalo, cows, and all those sorts of animals. Cadence, well, by the very nature of it being a bull, we know it's a boy. You want to know how I tell that it's a bull or a cow. If we look at it there, you can see that it's got a sort of helmet on the top of its head. Can you see that? And that helmet on the top of its head has the horns coming out of it. Now, if that was a cow or a female buffalo, we would know that it was a female because that kind of covering of the horns on top of the head wouldn't be there. The horns would just be coming straight out of the side of the head. She wouldn't have that covering that the buffalo bulls got, and the bulls got that because they like to fight with each other. They bash each other in the head in much the same way that gridiron footballers do. It's like a special gridiron football helmet that they have. All right, we're going to move from here because we want to see if we can find that leopard. And while we do that, Byron, on foot, has got a bird.
I have indeed got a bird, James, a beautiful bird that we've just spotted. And listen to it call. You might be able to hear it. Hear that? Dee, 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 dee. It's called a Diedrich cuckoo. There he goes. He's flying. Where is he going? Let's see. And off he goes. Very small little bird, but he has a wonderful cuckoo. Is they migrate in summer, our winter rather, so in the northern hemisphere summers, they'll migrate right up to North Africa, and then they come back down here for the summers. Wonderful, wonderful bird to see, the cuckoo. And we've got a lot of different species of cuckoos, and we do get to see them now and then. They've all got wonderful calls. They can be a little bit tricky to find. Now, while we walk around, Herbert is also having a look for any interesting little insects. Now, I've seen a lot of butterflies. I'd like to show you some if there are some around. The thing with the butterflies is they don't sit for very long. They tend to fly away. There goes one. Let's see if it sits for us. A common vagrant. It's a beautiful whitish little butterfly called a common vagrant. It's a beautiful white sitting still at all. And here's a beautiful plant that I'd like to show you. And look at this flower. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Now this is called a wild foxglove. It's a beautiful wild foxglove. No fruit or berries on this one. But Jennifer, you asked, are there any other fruit and berries that we can eat out here? There are indeed, Jennifer. Now let me have a look if I can find some for you quickly. Just having a look around here. This is called a white berry bush, and there's normally berries on here. But I don't see any on this one at the moment. We'll try to find. So Jennifer, there's lots of different trees that do have little berries and fruit that we can eat. There's some that we don't eat, but there are, especially now in summer, there are a lot of ones that we can eat, and they are very, very tasty. There's one called a sour plum. Now, some of you at school might love this, because I know how you kids love sour fruit or sour sweets. Now, it's about this size, almost the same size as almost the same size as this marula fruit. See, I've got a secret stash in my pocket for later. So it's about the same size, but it's a red color, beautiful bright red color, and very, very sour, very, very sour fruit. And the faces we pull when we eat them are so funny. You can imagine, when you bite into something very sour and your face pulls that, or you make those funny faces, is because it's so sour. There's a fruit out here, very tasty, very, very nice, but it is sour. So there's a lot of those. There's the white berry bush. There's a little bush called a ivy grape, and they contain little, they've got little grapes on them, actually, tiny little ones about this size, not very big, and we do get them around too. So there is lots of fruit that we can eat. I'm just trying to see if I can find one of these beautiful butterflies that are flying around. Now, Lucas, you're wondering why is it so hot in Africa? So, Lucas, we are almost on the other side of the world compared to where you are. And what happens is we experience our summer now, this time of year. So when you at home are having winter in North America, we are having summer. So over Christmas and New Year, it is very, very hot. It gets up to where we are, so extremely hot. So our Christmases, instead of building snowmen and having cold conditions, we have hot summer days where we spend in the pool or at the beach. Isn't that wonderful? So very different to a Christmas and New Year that you might experience back home. And then when we move into June, July and August, that is when it is winter for us. It does get very cold. But out here, it never gets cold enough for it to snow. We don't get snow in this part of South Africa. We have got some mountains called the Drakensberg mountain range, which we can see from here on a clear day, but we're a little bit low, so you won't be able to see them at the moment. And right on top of those mountains, we may get some snow, but South Africa generally doesn't get very much snow. Our climate is a bit warmer. That means our average temperature is much warmer, so we don't get a lot of snow. Now, on that note, I'm going to carry on walking in the heat and see what else I can find. Let's get back to my friend Taylor and see if she's found anything.
Have a look at this really big marula tree that's just off onto the side of the road, and look at that big hole that's in the middle of the tree. You can see that the termites have been eating away at it, so they have hollowed out this tree. And then I don't know what's happened inside. Maybe an elephant has broken a branch that was on the knot of this tree, and now it's made for this, well, this beautiful big hole. And out here in Africa, this would make the perfect home for a snake, for a little animal called a bush baby or a galago, for birds. And if it was lower down on the ground, you might even find a leopard stashing her cubs inside a hole like that, but the tree would have to be a little bit closer down to the ground. But isn't that amazing? Now, I wouldn't stick my hand in there either, because you wouldn't know if there's a snake or anything. There are some nasty snakes out here. You don't want to be bitten by them. So in order to avoid being bitten by any snakes or anything that can really cause you harm, it's always good to watch where you put your feet, and of course don't stick your hand in any dark holes. That's not a good idea to do that out here. Now we are now driving on a property called Chitwa, and as we're driving around we might actually see this animal that Layla's just asked about. So Layla's wanting to know, what is the animal that we see the most? So Layla, if you look very carefully, we might spot one. It's an antelope, so like a deer, I suppose. It's called an impala. That's probably the most common mammal out here. And then we see lots of elephants. We're quite lucky we see lots of leopards. And at one point we were seeing lots of lions too, but they seem to have gone on holiday somewhere. See, they had to work over Christmas, and now they've only taken their holiday now at the end of January, which is quite normal for lions. They like to do that quite often. Just joking. Now they are looking for buffalo to eat, so wherever the buffalo go, so do the lions. And unfortunately there don't seem to be too many buffalo around, because there's lots of grass, lots of food for them to eat. They can move wherever they like. My goodness, David, now where do we go? Straight left. Oh, straight and then left. So we're trying to navigate around here. I've never driven down this side of Chitwa. It's a new area that we can drive on, so we're learning, and I have a map which I will try and use. But this is a beautiful area, lots of grass, also lots of trees, so this would be a very good spot for some elephants. They like to eat everything, and when there's lots of everything, so lots of leaves, lots of grass, lots of bulbs and roots to dig out of the ground. Did you hear that, David? Now I don't know if you heard that, but there was a big bang coming from this tree. And as we look at this marula tree, I heard a big... something fell, and it was a marula. You saw Byron was eating a marula just now. That's the same fruit from the same tree, well, the different tree, and it keeps falling down. So you don't want to have a nap or a siesta underneath this tree, because I think you get a bit of a headache if a couple of marulas were to fall on them. But of course the fruit is delicious to eat. Now Deontay, you were wondering if honey badgers live in Africa. They do, and we have honey badgers here, but they like to move around, and when we normally see them is just as the sun is setting, and also just as the sun is rising. Normally in dusk and dawn are the best times to see honey badgers. But they're quite shy as well as ferocious, big and scary, as they are one of the most feared animals in Africa. Got to be careful of them, but in the vehicles we're quite safe. David, have you been down here before? No. It's a new experience now. Hello? Just having a look at, there was some antelope track on the road that almost looked like a lion footprint, but antelope track fooled me. Now Jania, you're wondering, why don't the lions attack us? So it's because we've been interacting with these animals every single day in these cars for the last 30 years. So they've become used to us now. They don't think of us as a threat. They sort of like us. We're quite neutral. David, you're saying no? Are we? Oh, very nice. We don't know where we are. and the GPS can't tell us if we're driving where we're not supposed to be driving. So I'm just going to look at my map very quickly. Where is Gari, Maine? I have to find it. Here we go. Now I have to do that. We went over here. We're going to go down a little bit further and see if we can figure out where we are. Hopefully we're not driving somewhere we're not supposed to. But James has got the most incredible surprise for you to see.
Now, we do have a very wonderful surprise for you here, everybody, but I must just warn you that there's a little bit of blood because an animal was killed. That's underneath the tree there, but just look over there to the left of us. There's a leopard. A little male leopard called Hosana, which means the little chief. Now, he's just left the kill, and so we're not going to worry about the kill. We're just going to follow him. This is very special. Isn't that nice? To me, this is the most beautiful cat in the world. And it's certainly the most beautiful cat in Africa. Let's just move in here a little bit. Hello, Deshawn. You're wondering what leopards eat? Deshawn, leopards love to eat meat. And I will show you what he's been eating, but I'm just going to warn you that it might be a little bit sad for some of you because they did kill something, but that's normal. That's okay. There we go. Let's have a look at him. We all like to eat meat as well, don't we? Or lots of us do. Oh, he's walking towards another vehicle there. And that is the young male leopard, and you can hear the birds going crazy. And that's because they don't like leopards, because leopards kill. And if we look over there, you can see that's where the kill is. That's what they eat. That is a dead impala, and his mum killed that today, sometime during this morning. And I know it's a little bit sad, but it's okay, because these leopards have to eat, and they deserve to eat. And what I think this little chap's doing is perhaps heading towards some water, because there's some water quite close by, so we're not going to stick with the smelly meat there, which is starting to be a little bit disgusting. His mum's in here somewhere, probably in the shade. Yeah, I think he's heading towards some water there. Langdon, you're wondering how fast a leopard can run. Well, the official number is about 70 feet in 1 second. Now, can you imagine how fast that is? 70 feet in 1 second. That's very fast indeed. And if I was to put it in miles per hour, it's probably about almost 70 miles per hour. Not 70 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour. Between 45 and 50 miles per hour. And we're just going to try and find this little male again, this little leopard. There's some water not too far from here. He might also be trying to get into the shade, of course. There he is. I can see him now. You see him there? Hello, Mrs. Hubble. You're wondering about the differences between a leopard and a cheetah. Mrs. Hubble, they are superficially very different indeed. And if you look a bit deeper, they're extremely different. The basic difference is that a leopard is much more stocky. He's a much less sort of thin and tall animal. He's built for a short sprint rather than for a lengthy run, which of course is what a cheetah's born for. And a cheetah is taller, and the spots are very different. So although the face looks quite similar in some respects, the face of a cheetah is much thinner, and it's got black tear marks that go from the eye down to the nose, and you can see that this chap's got none of that. And you know why he's panting like this? He's panting like this because he's eaten so much. He's so full of meat that he can't hardly breathe. Now, Lucas, you've asked a very good question, but I'm going to tell you that it works a different way from the way you've asked it. You said, how long does a leopard mum stay with her babies? A leopard mum doesn't stay with her babies. It's how long her babies stay with her, Lucas. And this male leopard will leave her mum when he is about 2 years old. Now he has his first birthday in just 14 days. In 14 days' time, little Hosana will be exactly 1 year old. Isn't that nice? And so he's got another year or so with his mum, but slowly he will spend more and more time away from her. He'll go off hunting on his own, then he'll come back again, and then he'll go and spend some time sleeping in a tree on his own, and then he'll come back again. And eventually, after 2 years or so, he will be on his own. And that's a difficult time. And you know what? It's very similar as to when all of you will eventually leave home, and that's not for a very long time, so you don't need to worry about it. But it becomes quite difficult when, as a young adult, you have to make your way in the world, find a job, make your own, find a house to live in, buy your own food, that sort of thing. And that's exactly how it is for these young leopards. They have to learn to hunt on their own. They have to find a place to stay that isn't full of other leopards, and that's quite difficult. Well, Liam, what do you think? Look at this as Craig zooms out from that leopard. What do you think the answer to your question is? Liam wants to know, do leopards like to hide? Well, Liam, look how well they hide. They're very, very good at hiding, aren't they? I mean, if we were just to walk past here, he could just put his head down in the grass, and you know what? We wouldn't even see him. See that? That's really quite clever. Now, we don't have a very long time, so we know where he is. So what I'm going to suggest we do is we leave him and see if we can't quickly find the mum, because I'd like you to introduce her to you, or many of you have probably met her before. She's a very special leopardess called Karula. Now, while we do that, Taylor has got, well, what some people call the big clown of the bush.
I think they are definitely the clowns of the bush, and this, as James is referring to, is also known as a wildebeest or a gnu, and it is a big male gnu, a big boy. Now he's sitting here and he's marking his territory. So he's got different ways that he'll mark his territory. If you look very carefully, you might even be able to see their his preorbital glands are hidden. You can't see them too well. Maybe if he looks towards us again. Are you going to show us them? Oh, they were a little bit hidden, but basically underneath his eyes, he's got these little, how do you describe, like a little gland. It almost looks like another pair of eyes if you look very carefully, but it's not a pair of eyes. It secretes a very sticky goo, I suppose you could also call it, and they rub it on plants, they rub it on grass, on trees, and they will use this to scent mark. And also, between their hooves, they've got glands inside there called pedal glands, and they do the same thing. As he's walking along, he's constantly marking his territory. But he's waiting for a herd of ladies to come past and decide to live in his home. And he's got a beautiful home. He's got lots of nice grass. He's got big trees to help shade them. Now, Scott, you're wondering how many animals on the reserve. The answer to that is lots. There are so many different animals, and you can see that there's now a waterbuck that is joined, or two waterbuck. There's one sitting down on the ground as well. So here we have two different species, but you get lots. You get lions, you get leopards, you get hyenas and cheetah and serval and caracal, you name it, and all the different antelope species and all the birds and all the reptiles. There are too many to even try and count. I promise you, if you come down here, you will never ever get bored. Now, I think that the one that's sitting down might be, no, it can't be the calf, because she looks exceptionally fat. Maybe it is her calf, but you can see she's got a very big belly. She almost looks like she's still pregnant, and her udders, her teats are swollen, so she's got milk in there, so she's definitely feeding something. But it's very difficult to see who is sitting down in the long grass, because that antelope is now completely hidden. It could be a calf, it could be another female. Now, Layla, you're wondering, why do they have horns? So the waterbuck don't have horns. Well, the girl waterbuck don't have any, but the big boys have got massive big horns. But the wildebeest has now disappeared behind the termite mound. You can just see his tail every now and then. But he had horns, and horns are there to protect themselves. So they can protect themselves from predators, from animals that are trying to catch them and eat them. And when the boys need to fight for the rights to have all the groups of the ladies, then they have to battle it out, and they will clash their horns. So they'll use their horns as well to fight other species. But that's the two main reasons. Oh, I just heard something, but I think it was that wildebeest stomping his foot. I think that there are lots and lots of insects around. You can see how that antelope, she's sort of making her body shake a little bit. Can you see that? And that's her twitching her muscles because all the insects are annoying her. They might be biting her. And you can see that tail is going, wee, 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 getting rid of all the insects. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that name for a second there. I missed that. Is it Luke? It was Luke. Luke, you're wondering what time of the year do the wildebeest migrate? All the time. So there's no set time. Are the flies bothering you? There's little flies called mapani bees, little bees, stingless bees, and they're flying all around us, trying to drink the sweat because they also get thirsty, but they are bothering David. So he is using a technique to try and blow them away, sort of going. And it sort of works a little bit. Not quite as well as the antelope's tail, though. They're swatting it around, works much better. But the wildebeest, and he popped out again, he heard his name. They will move around all the time. They are constantly looking for food. So it just depends at which area you are in that you will see the wildebeest migrate. So there are, for instance, Kenya or Tanzania, which are countries in Africa, have got massive wilderness areas where you can see the animals. But at certain times of the year, the big herds of wildebeest and the zebra and even buffalo and those animals will all be in big herds at certain parts throughout the entire year. So they're constantly looking for food, constantly looking for water to eat, not water, water to drink. And now, well, you've seen the leopards with James, and you know, and I'm sure James has told you that leopards climb trees very well. Now, somebody else has decided to climb up a tree, and he goes by the name of Byron. I don't think he can climb as well as a leopard, though.
I think I can climb very well, Taylor, but maybe not as well as a leopard. I'm right up in the branches of this marula tree that's actually been pushed over, I think, by an elephant. An elephant are incredibly powerful, and they do that so that they can get to the wonderful leaves and the fruit right at the top of the tree. So that's why they'll probably push over a tree like this. But you can imagine how strong an elephant is to be able to push it over like this. Now, what I did find, or what we found just before we walked up here, was have a look at this. A beautiful snake skin. Can you see that? Now, have a look. This is a small snake, not a very big snake, and what's happened here is the snake has shed its skin. So basically what happens when the snake grows, the skin doesn't grow with it. It gets too big for the skin, so it sheds its skin, which means it peels the skin off, and it will leave it behind, probably scrape it on the branches of a bush or in the long grass or on a stump, and then it'll leave the skin behind. So this, to be honest, looks like a skin of a stripe-bellied sand snake. Now, a sand snake out here, it's not venomous to us. They're just very, very fast snakes, very thin, fast-moving snakes, but they're not dangerous towards us. They're not venomous, which means they don't have venom that can harm us in any way. But I'm just having a look, and I think that's what it is from. Now, Katie, you want to know how many different types of snakes do we get out here? Well, many different types, Katie. We've got many, many different species. I would say, if I can maybe name the top venomous ones, so the ones that we have to be very careful of, that would probably be the black mamba, which is renowned around the world for being very fast. It tends to be a bit aggressive if it is threatened, if it feels threatened. Most snakes would like to move away from you, but it all depends on where you are and what type of snake it is. The other one would be a puff adder, which is a very slow moving snake. Looks very similar to your rattlesnake that you get in North America. Then we have various types of cobras which raise up and spread their hood, and then another one called a boomslang or a tree snake. Now they climb trees very, very well, and the beautiful snakes though. All snakes are really beautiful. I love snakes, but I am very respectful of them. I won't just go and try and catch a snake or try and poke it or anything like that, because that's when you potentially could get. And out here, if you get bitten by a snake, you're in for some serious trouble. So rather leave snakes alone and just view them from a distance and appreciate them and let them go on their own way. Now, Loop, you want to know what is the most venomous snake? Now, the most venomous that we get in this area is the boomslang or the tree snake. Drop for drop, that is the most venomous snake. Now, a lot of people think it's the black mamba. The black mamba, however, is very fast, and it can be slightly aggressive if it feels threatened. So it has got a very bad reputation. People are scared of it. And they're big snakes. They can get up to 3 or 4 meters, which is, if it was standing next to me, if I had to stand up and hold it, probably that long, from the stick all the way down to my leg. That's how long a black mamba would be, sometimes longer. Very, very long snakes. They also have very powerful venom, but they're probably second or third in terms of the most venomous in Africa. So we do have to be careful. Now, my leopard skills are finishing, I think. I'm going to climb down from the tree, but while I climb down, James has got the real leopards to show you.
Now, we do have a real leopard, everybody. It's the little female, and that's Hosana's brother. Her name is Xongile, which means the beautiful one, and she seems to be either trying to find her mother. Just watch her carefully. I know it's very difficult to see her there. But she's either trying to find her mum, or she's going to head back to the kill. But she's now moving away from the kill. I think her mum is just behind that bush, you know. Let's go and have a look. Just going to do a little turn around here. Now, Wilma, I know it looks like there are a few leopards around here, and you're wondering if leopards like to live in groups. You know what? The only cat in the whole wide world that likes to live in a group is the lion. The rest of the cats really don't like to live in groups. These guys like to live on their own. And so what you'll find is that the only time you see leopards together with other leopards is when they are mating, or when a mum is with her youngsters. So here we have a mum and her 2 youngsters, and that's why they're living in a group. But they won't live in a group for long. Eventually the little ones will move away. And the reason I'm moving wide around here is that we don't want to give them a fright. And you see them there. You see both. I'm just talking to Craig, who is on camera. And we're just going to move through this little hole here and try not to make a noise. There's lots of bush everywhere. So we'll just gently go through here. I bet you think we can't get through here, don't you? I feel like that sometimes too, but these cars are so clever. Now, Alexis, while we get through here, you want to know how long they live. Alexis, they don't live very long, you know. They only live out here for about 18 years if they're very lucky. Most of them only about 14 years. So they don't live for a long time at all. Yeah, I think it's just the little female here. I don't think her mum's here at all. We're just going to drive very gently. Oh, there, look. It is the mother. The mother's there with her. Look at that. So there you can see the long tail of the mum, and there's the little daughter. Isn't that special? It's so pretty. And it's so nice to see them together. And you can see mum just put her tail over the top of the little daughter to say, everything's okay. It's nice to be here with you. And I thought she might be there. Now sometimes that leopardess doesn't like it when we get too close. So we just need to stay here and let her get used to us. And then we might just be able to move forward a bit. But you know, the mum's head is behind the bushes, so I don't think we're going to get a very good view. And Phoenix, you say, how do leopards use their camouflage? Now that's quite a good question. If you look at them now, I reckon, Phoenix, that I think that leopard's quite easy to see. You can see they've got white on them, and white is very easy to see out here. But what you find, Phoenix, is when they're hunting, they hunt in what we call twilight, and that's the time, or in the darkness, it's just before dark. And they like to hunt in thick bush, so they'll walk through thick bush like this. And if you saw in black and white, or if you didn't see in color, like most of the animals out here don't see in color, that color of the leopards is actually really very difficult to see. And so they use their camouflage for hunting, and they use it by moving through what we like to call in English the dappled light. It's a really nice way of putting it. And that means the light that's been broken up by the shadows of trees. And then they're very difficult for things to see. Like that impala male that she killed today, very difficult to see, and really a good meal for them. Very big prey for this leopardess to have killed, but really a good meal for them, because of course we know that these two little leopards, Xongile and Hosana, very hungry all the time. And so it's so nice that Karula, the great queen of Djuma, that's what we call this leopardess, so nice that she's managed to kill for both of them something large. See how well hidden they are? Isn't that nice, Phoenix? You can see how very cleverly hidden they are. They're very, very clever. Right, we're going to try and sneak a little bit forward. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to sneak forward. I'm going to go backwards and come from another angle. I could go forward, but I think it would be what we call insensitive. And that means that the animals might get a little bit of a fright. Sometimes we do that because we know that it's not going to be a bad fright. But if we can avoid it by going a different route, then that's what we do. And that's what we're going to do now. We need to be as sensitive to nature as we can, so that nature looks after us. If we look after nature, nature looks after us. So we'll go around this corner here. There'll be a little bit of crunching and bashing. But don't worry, all of the trees here are able to survive when we run them over. They spring up afterwards, except maybe a dead one like that. We're going to crunch over the dead one. Are you ready? Okay, everybody, hold on tight. We're going to crunch over this dead tree, and it's going to go bang, bang. Wasn't that fun? Now we'll move in here, and we should get a nice view of both of those leopards. And we'll sit in the shade, quietly in the shade. Okay, now I'm going to talk very quietly, because we're very close to them, and you can see the mum and her daughter, and I'm going to give you one last look before we say to you goodbye, and I'm sure we'll see you again. We seem to be seeing Providence and Windsor quite a lot, so hopefully you will be with us again with Karula and Xongile and Hosana very soon. Have a great day at school, kids, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And after the school drive, it's always difficult not to talk to the rest of you like this. But of course, after a while, you'd get very irritated. And I can't talk to you like this because my energy levels would eventually not work anymore, and my brain would leak out of my ear. So I'm going to talk normally to you. Welcome back to the sighting, everyone. And here we have Karula and Xongile. And I'm genuinely talking quietly because the last few times vehicles have got this close to her. And I've noticed this with people's voices around her. She can get quite irritated. And she does those, you know, you've often seen her, some of you, give that kind of snarl towards the vehicles and maybe the odd step forward. And we don't want that. And I'm convinced that she's reacting to the sound of our voices. And so I will talk as calmly as possible. so that she doesn't feel any form of threat. Now remember, hashtag Safari Live, questions at wildearth.tv. That's how you get hold of us today, and any other day, I suppose. And it would be lovely to have your comments and questions. I'm so happy to have these cats here today. I'm going to spend as long with them as I possibly can, simply because I've had so little time with them of late. Been in the tent and then they've disappeared, and anyway, there they are. They're not doing a great deal. However, Byron has got some, well, they were worms at one stage, and now they are glorious fluttering creatures.
They were indeed, James, and now they are beautiful butterflies. The African monarch, that is what we've got here. Other one's still sitting there. One just flew off. Beautiful butterflies. They're probably my favorite butterflies. I do have some lovely pictures of them. And just a bit of a recap of what we've done so far. We've been walking around. We found some nice fresh marula fruit, and we also found a snake skin while I was climbing a marula tree that was pushed over. Wow, really beautiful color on those wings. That orange and the white coloration and the black. Definitely my favorite butterfly out here. I also like those broad bordered grass yellows. Very beautiful, bright yellow little butterflies. Now we were in search of, I was hoping to find some signs of elephant, and we really haven't seen a lot of elephant on Djuma recently, and I think, you know, all that happens is with all the rainfall, there's food all over now, and the elephants just disperse slightly and go and find areas. You would think that there'd be plenty around here because of all the marula fruit, but they're probably just moving to different areas where there's a lot of water, big dam. There'd be plenty around here.
Sorry about that, everybody. The fluttering creatures are obviously too much for Byron's emotional state, and he caused, through the action of his telepathy, the bushwalk to freeze. We will tell him to calm down, take a chill pill, and next time you see him, hopefully it will be for a bit longer. I know, however, that you don't mind spending time with Karula the Queen, because for most of you, this is the very reason you watch Safari Live. It's one of the main reasons I work here. There she is. And she's got up and done a 180-degree turn for us. How very kind. And her daughter remains just flicking her little tail in there. And you can see maybe that they are very uncomfortable because they're so full. Look at them. They're great. We're so lucky, you know. I get all miffed and upset when they go south of our boundary onto Buffelshoek, or at least onto Little Gowrie, and really, I mean, we still spend an astonishing amount of time with them. So I've got nothing to be vaguely ungrateful about, I suppose. And every time we don't see them, of course, is a preparation for the next time. They're so gloriously hidden. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about the day's sort of temperature. It is about, I think, about 85 degrees or so. It's a wonderful summer's day. It was quite hot today. It certainly wasn't unbearable by any stretch of the imagination. And there's a lovely breeze blowing in, but interestingly from the northwest at the moment. So that's the unusual wind that we get. It's normally perennially sort of from the southeast there. And it's got that wonderful feeling that it's maintained the whole day from when I was on bushwalk this morning. It was calm, it was lazy. Well, it wasn't a lazy day for Karula, and certainly very unlazy for that impala ram that's now busy greeting its maker. But that's just the atmosphere that there is out here, and it's a perfect kind of summer's afternoon, and I know many of you will have read books or experienced days like this where the atmosphere is such that it all just feels kind of right with the world. It's warm. Insects are singing all around you. The odd bird is tweeting. And there's a leopard right there. Apparently we're all content now, which is excellent. We'll spend as much time as we can here. We might have to move out at some stage. But I think unless anybody objects very strongly, I'm going to spend the best part of the afternoon here with them. Mercedes, what a nice question from you, and I'm not sure I know the answer to this. You say, what does Karula do with the ticks that she grooms off her babies? Because I think you were probably watching the other day when we watched Hosana sitting on a termite mound, and he had masses of ticks on him there, and I wondered if she would not take them off him. Mercedes, I suspect she swallows them, to be honest. I think they're probably quite good scoff. Very nutritious, slightly cannibalistic, I suppose. But I think you'd find that she'll probably devour them. Certainly that's what I would suggest she did with them. She has a powerful digestive system. And there's one on her face, yes. She's always got quite a few ticks on her, you know. So Mercedes, I'm going to say she eats the ticks. Ugh. I suppose that'll make most of you squeamish, because it's really not a particularly attractive thing, eating ticks. Would you like to eat ticks, Craig?
Yeah, I quite enjoy it.
Craig says he quite likes eating ticks, everyone. He is from Natal, though, so I mean, they're a strange bunch. They're the last frontier of the colony, really, so, you know, they're made of tough stuff. I don't like to eat ticks. Right, Taylor's found some signal. I'm going to talk to Craig about his meal choices. Let's go and find out what's happening on Cheetah Plains.
Before I say anything, I need to chat on the radio very quickly. Peter for Taylor. Nope. They cannot hear us. I heard Peter say something about elephants somewhere, but I didn't quite hear, unfortunately, where it was. I suppose we're just going to have to keep driving and look for our own. And let's see what we're going to have up ahead. Where are we going to go down? We're going to check all the watering holes. We're going to go past Buffalo Dam at some point as well. David's just done a little air fist pump. He's very excited about that. David, maybe today's going to be the day.
Maybe.
Right? Remember this morning, if you were watching the sunrise drive, we were saying that every time we come to Cheetah Plains, we're going to have a look around that dam, and see if we can, of course, find anything. But we actually checked the Lake Djuma, as it's now known, because it's so big. But unfortunately, there wasn't anything around. The only thing we'd seen very briefly was a laughing dove, and then it took off. That big male hippopotamus that we had in there a couple of days ago seems to have moved away and found something else. Yes, Ephraim! Hi, Ephraim! We're going to have a chat with Ephraim very quickly. I need to, because I couldn't get hold of him, so I want to ask him about an update. Hi, Ephraim. Very well, and you? Did you see any elephants anywhere? Where?
Yes, 3 in a row pen.
Say again? 3 in a row pen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. I'm going to go.
One is running up in the open.
Okay, I'll go and have a look.
Yeah, to the camp inside.
Okay.
See from the open.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to keep scratching here.
No problem.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
We're going to go past everyone. We'll try and squeeze past. No, I'm just joking. Have a good one. Woo, the flies. There we go. So that's good news, isn't it? That Ephraim has seen some elephants. I'm pretty excited now because one of the things that I'd wanted to see this afternoon was elephants, and then of course the second thing was lions. And I found out that the Styx Pride has gone south into Annette's. So I don't know if we're going to catch up with the Styx Pride. David, which are we going here? Hey? We're going to always ask David just to double check, and he loves to be included all the time. Hey David, you love just having chats, so. And I was telling you something funny. Seeing as I'm teasing David now, he had a good chuckle at me earlier, because as we were driving along and I was yakking away as I normally do, a big fly flew straight into the back of my throat, and the same thing happened to me the other day, and I managed to spit it out. I didn't get to spit this one out, unfortunately. It flew straight down and into my esophagus, and I'm not joking. I downed a whole lot of water just to try and see if I could get rid of it, and I could still feel it tickling and moving around in my throat. It was terrible. But it seems, I think that it has now entered my stomach. I'm very full. I'm not going to have any room for dinner tonight, David. None. Nothing. Oh, common duiker. Let's see if we can go back. I think it knows we've spotted it, but we'll go back anyway. Can you see it there, David? Here we go. Hello, beautiful boy. A beautiful common duiker. I love the way that they're able to leap and bound so high. And you'll actually notice now at this time of the year, they're going to start jumping much higher than what they do in the winter months, and that's just because the grass is so high. Sometimes the grass is taller even than the tops of their heads. So if they also want to see where they're going, and you've been seeing the squirrels doing it a lot as well. They sort of bounce top of the grass, have a quick look around, go back down, run, bounce, scan, check everything, and all the small antelopes. So the steenbok are definitely going to be doing it. So this is quite good. Watch your head here, David. Is that apparently there were some elephants just south of 3 in a row pan. So that means somewhere here. The pans are up there. I don't see any elephants. Let's switch off. Let's listen and see if we can't hear this herd of elephants moving through the bushes. I need to lift my earpiece away from my ear for 2 seconds. No, nothing. Very quiet, eh? You can just hear a red-crested koran and a turtle dove. I don't know where they've gone. Where have the elephants gone? If they've come from the pan, let's quickly check down here. I think we should do that. And then Ephraim also said something about one elephant being on the open. Hello, Bram from the Netherlands. Now, your question is actually one of my favorite things that elephants do. So Bram has said, are there any animals that benefit? Should we just go straight? Or should we go right? We went straight this morning, I think. Hey, let's take this road. We'll try a different road from the one we went on this morning. So Bram, he's basically asked, are there any animals that benefit from elephants pushing the trees down? Yes, they are, and it's one of my things. Often people will come to South Africa with this attitude, or they've heard stories about how destructive elephants can be. But of course, hang on, let me just listen. Okay, so just listening to the radio, but nothing where we can go. So basically, they come and they say how destructive elephants are, but it's not that an elephant is destructive on purpose. 9 times out of 10 it's pushing a tree over so that it can reach the tops of the leaves, to push over the tree so it can get the roots, so it's got something to eat in the drier winter months. And then of course there's so many different animals that will benefit from that. All the browsers, so the impala, the kudu, the inyala, the bushbuck, they'll be able to come through and they'll be able to eat on the leaves of a marula tree, which they're not normally able to reach. And then it also provides a really nice home or protection for the ground-dwelling birds, so for the francolins, for the spur fowls, for the guinea fowl. If an eagle or something is chasing them, they can often run underneath the fallen shrub, and it provides a nice little escape route. It's also a good idea to maybe nest in an area like that. It'll keep you nice and safe, and you'll find lots and lots of lizards and scorpions that'll eventually go and inhabit something like that, possibly even snakes. So yes, it's so important that elephants do push over these trees, because it does help out the other animals out there. But they don't push them down all the time. Just every now and then you get a big angry elephant bull that will take his frustrations out on a tree. But even when he does that, normally then at least he eats a couple of pieces of leaves or pulls the fruit off of the tree. So he's not just leaving it there to waste. Now where have these elephants gone? Ephraim said they were just south of 3 in a row pan. Now as we're driving around, you probably would have heard me throwing out a couple of random names like Juma or Chitwa or Cheetah Plains, even Arethusa. And if you're wondering, just having a look here, David. Actually, let's go down here. And now, Simon, you're wondering whereabouts in Africa is this? So we essentially are in the northeastern corner of South Africa, and we're in a wilderness area that forms part of the Greater Kruger National Park. But we're in a private sector at the moment, so it's called the Sabi Sand, and then we've got a whole lot of areas that we got to drive around on. So essentially these wild animals have got over 8.5 million acres of land to move around on, which is huge. It is a very, very big piece of land, and there's no obstructions. The only thing is that if a river's full and an animal feels like it couldn't cross it, well then that's going to be a barrier. Otherwise it's open and it's pristine wilderness. There are even some areas where no vehicles have even gone. So it's very remote and very wild out here. We're getting close to the plains now, and I'm hoping these elephants are going to pop out somewhere. And we're going to, oh, hang on, look at this, some kudu. Hi, everybody. No, don't run away from us. Let's have a look and see, maybe we can see the first kudu calf of the season. No. These ladies don't look like they've got any calves at their sides, but they do look like they've got a calf. Well, they all look like they're heavily pregnant. Hello, girls, and there's a red-billed oxpecker grooming away, which I'm sure that the kudu are enjoying that, getting rid of all the parasites that are out and about at the moment. And look at those very, very big ears. And David, there's a cuckoo. Hang on. Can you see the cuckoo? So you see the big knobthorn, David? Now on the top right branch. Yeah, I'm just trying to see it there. Go in there. Up a little bit higher. I can't see it. So David, if you look, you see how there's the branches go out into two big branches. It's on the one on the left-hand side, but on the top right, if that makes any sense. There we go. I think go straight in there. I'm just trying to see it. It's so well camouflaged. Go to the top. No, it's still sitting there. It's still calling. I'm just trying to figure out where it is. This is so difficult to see on this. Can you not see it? So, do you see where that turtle dove just flew? It's sitting right up on the top of the branch. Where are you? I can see it with my eyes, but I can't. There it is. That was a sneaky one. And off it goes. And the reason why I wanted to show you that, and I'm sorry if I spoke over it as it was calling, but that's the same cuckoo, the Deirdre's cuckoo, that you saw with Byron. And speaking of Byron, he's managed to get himself sorted again, and I think he's got a couple of footprints to show you.
Have a look at that. We've got, looks like it's very obscure in the soft sand here. And let's move a little forward and look at the beautiful leopard track. Right. The 1, 2, 3, 4 toes, all facing that way, and the back pair. And we've come a little further. There's another track of the, also in the soft, but you can actually see the pad clearly. Now, I've spoken about the tracks cats before. Cats, how easy it is to identify. If you just look, all cats have got 3 lobes at the back of the pad. So basically, that palm of the hand, or basically that little palm of the hand of my hand, that's the palm of the leopard track with the 1, 2, 4 toes, 3, 4 toes. So the lobes you can see clearly over here. There's 1, 2, 3. Do you see that? Very clear lobes with the pad and the 4 toes, and it's a very round track. This is a male leopard. This is a beautiful male leopard track. I think it's possibly Tingana that's moved through this area. And we're going to see if we can follow and maybe we find him. I'm not sure. It has been hot today. I think these tracks are from this morning. So who knows? We're going to try our luck and see and follow these tracks, see where they go. They do head off towards a little bit of a drainage line. So who knows? We might be able to find this leopard. That would be wonderful. But again, with them being from early this morning, he could have covered a huge distance. We know how leopards do move around a lot, especially when they're marking their territory, and especially the male leopard. And it was very cool this morning, so it would have been nice or easier for him to move around. Now, if we come through here, it looks like the tracks head all the way along here, over this log. Just see, oh, but have a look here. This is interesting. There's something else. Let me just move this side. Oh, look at this. Wow. There's a bird skull. See if I can pick it up. There we go. Look at that, a little bird skull. Now, I'm not sure what bird this would have been from. It's difficult to tell. Longish beak. Maybe a starling, possibly a starling. I would guess. I'd hazard a guess. I'm not entirely sure. Don't take my word for it, but it does appear to be a starling skull, perhaps with that longish beak. So I think so, but I'm not sure. It's quite tricky to tell, but it's possibly been killed by something. Or, you know, there are no big trees around here, so I don't think it fell out of a nest. I don't think this was a chick. This was a bird that died. And speaking of that bird, who's unfortunately not doing so well, but Taylor's got a beautiful bird that is. Coming back. Oh dear, looks like Taylor's got some gremlins on her vehicle, but don't worry, stick with us. And I feel like I'm leading the largest bushwalk ever. We always speak about the largest game drive vehicle with all the guests on board, all you viewers. This is the largest bushwalk. Don't forget, remember the hand signals I taught you yesterday? Get down, come forward, go back, and just freeze. Don't forget that. I'm just having a look and seeing if I can't find more of these leopard tracks along the way. I'm hoping he went along this path, but the soil has become, or the sand has become a little bit harder, so it's a bit tricky to see now. But you never know, we might find there's a lovely little pan up ahead, a little water hole, so I'm going to have a look there. Maybe he went and had a drink. See, it's always very nice to know the area that you are walking in, so you know where these little mud wallows are, because you have to be very careful. It could be buffalo wallowing in these mud wallows, just like James had earlier today. Let's head back to Taylor. I think she's got signal and a beautiful bee eater to show you.
Louise, I just want to let you know as I sit here, I can copy you about 2 out of 5 now, but this is a carmine, a southern carmine bee eater, and I don't know if anybody has seen it yet this year, but I know Brent and I, before you went on leave, we were talking about spotting carmine bee eaters, and well, here one is, and I think that it has to be the most beautiful bee eater that we see. That beautiful sort of pinkish purple and the touch of turquoise really does stand out. And they can fly up to 650 kilometers. And sort of they're intra-African migrants, so they come from the northern parts of Africa, and when it gets too hot up there, they come down to us for our summer. And they should probably leave around March or so, but I'm hoping we're going to start to see more and more around here. And the big plains of Cedar Plains have been fantastic for birding. Like I said this morning, we also got to see a long-tailed paradise wider, which is an unusual bird. So this is a really, really special one to see. But very much like the other bee-eaters, they are specialists at catching insects while they are in flight. They're able to do the most beautiful acrobatic movements and catch bees and wasps. And of course, that's where the name comes from. They are very good at wiping the stings off of the insects before they feast upon them. But isn't this fantastic? And I hope that it's a new bird for some of you. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And if it is a new bird, I'd love to hear from you. So you can send it through as to what number bird this is on your list. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions@wildearth.tv. Louise, also just to let you know, I have no service, just in case you are trying to get hold of me. But it is just perfectly sitting there, and it is so obliging as well. Normally we try and get a view of the bee-eaters, and they're always the first ones to fly away. Oh, I suppose that's nothing new. I suppose that's the birds, isn't it? Always flying away when they get the camera on them. But this one is particularly relaxed. Oh, big yawn. Now, Liz, you've said that this is also your favorite of the bee-eaters. And I mean, you can see why that beautiful black stripe across its eye. And then, of course, all those very pretty colors. It's nice, though. It's almost like pastel colored. And it's one of the reasons why I like them and the European bee-eaters. I think that they are the most beautiful. The carmine bee-eater, of course, is my absolute favorite. But this is lovely. I can hear some rollers also shouting away. There's lots of birds, and we're keeping our eye open too for that long-tailed paradise wider, because if we can show you that, I'm pretty sure that it'll be a new excuse me, I think that fly's trying to come back up again. Get back down there. We should have chewed a bit more. No, I'm just joking. Where was this bee-eater when that fly decided to fly straight into my throat? I needed it there so it could have swooped down and caught it and saved me from the bee-eater. And I think it is, Louise. I think you're quite correct. I think that this is exactly the first carmine bee-eater this year. I'm so excited. I never expect to have seen it here. Normally you see these birds along riverbeds, or dry riverbeds, anywhere where there's quite a steep slope and a bank. Because like the rest of the bee-eaters, they make mud hole nests, and to be able to make a mud hole nest, you need to be able to excavate into the side of a bank, of a river. And there aren't too many big river systems around here, so perhaps it's coming. Oh, excuse me, dropped a little package off. And I think it's obviously coming to and from, maybe flying all the way into Mala Mala, heading down to some of the bigger river systems like the Sand River. But this is fantastic. And I wish that it would swoop down and catch something for us. But I don't think it is. Sorry, you can feel shaking. Oh my goodness, I just got bitten by insects. I don't know what flies they were, but they attacked me on both of my legs. It was so sore, so I had to give my legs a little bit of a slap, which made the camera, of course, shake hysterically. Don't worry, there's no earthquake or anything going on. It's just me panicking that I'm being bitten. Let's see if we can actually get a closer view. I don't know if it might fly away, but let's try our luck here. It's been so obliging as is. Yeah, it's a lovely bee-eater. There we go. And even look at the little bits of green that it has on its head. You will not bite me again. I got it. That is stunning. I actually thought it was going to fly away for a moment, because normally when they drop off a little package, a little parcel, they normally take off after that, but not this one. This one is staying put. And listening to us. Maybe it's missed Safari Live, hey, since last year. Hasn't seen us. It's probably just as intrigued with us as we are with it. But where's your friends? Where are the rest of your kind? We haven't actually been seeing too many bee-eaters. I heard a couple yesterday, just before we ended the bushwalk. Some European bee-eaters, quite a big flock of them flew overhead. But other than that, the odd little bee-eater, but nothing really more. It seems to be that the rollers are around in full force, having the lilac breasted, the purple, and as well as the European being around. Still haven't seen a broad-billed roller here. Last time I saw one of those was in Zambia. And the last time I saw carmine bee-eaters was probably, I think, in about December last year. We saw them quite early down in the south. We saw lots of them. And there we go. Off it goes. Wasn't that fantastic? Now, we've checked the plains, and I haven't seen this elephant, or these elephants that Ephraim was talking about. So I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to go actually further down the boundary towards 3 in a row pan, and there's a couple of like sort of little wetlands there. Maybe we'll get lucky and find those elephants. But it seems as though Mr. Henry is still sitting about with the royal family. I think we should all go across so you can grace them with your presence.
Hello. The royal family is walking around, really. Hosana somewhere around there. Karula's left the kill. Was hoping she'd come back to it straight away, but she doesn't seem to have wanted to move in there a little. I can see flicking tails. Now, as I said to the kids, if you were watching at the time, this leopardess has developed a somewhat, well, not dubious reputation, but she can get irritated. And so I'm going to be quite careful about her. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that does irritate her. Ooh. She seems to be relieving herself currently. It would be very nice if the elephants would clean up after themselves. There she is. I think she's gonna lie down. Now we can't see her at all. Sorry everybody, I didn't predict that very well. We'll try and get a view through here. No. What she will not like is Jigger's brakes going. I'm going to watch her behaviour very carefully. Yeah, now what she did there was she gave a very slight snarl. So she went like that, and I think that is a good enough reason for us just to move off. I don't like that she does this, and I think it's because we irritate her. And so what I'm going to do is try and approach from a different angle that just puts a bit more distance between us. Not because I think she's going to jump on the car, but because clearly, I mean, a leopard doesn't just do that for no reason. Did you see her do that? Craig, did you? Yeah. And it's just important to me that we don't have a situation where the animals feel uncomfortable. Now, is it heron? Heron or Karen? You're wondering about why it is that that kill is not in the tree. And heron, the reason it isn't in the tree is because it's too big. She's not strong enough to pull that thing up. It's heavier than she is. She probably weighs in the region of 90 pounds, maybe a bit more, about 100 pounds. And that impala probably weighs in the region of 160 pounds. So he's too heavy for her. And once she's eaten 20% of it or so, I imagine then she will perhaps try and get it into a tree. Either a tree that she's under, that is, you know, the kill was under, or there's a scraggly marula off in front of her. The elephants have made such a mess around here. You can hear the dang, bing, bong, bong under the car, and that's because of the little stumps that the elephants have left all over the place. Oh, now little Xongile has joined her. There we go. Marvellous. So we'll just sit here with her. Now this distance is probably about let's say 15 meters or so, which if you're working in the 18th century is roughly 50 feet. And she's totally comfortable now, you see. There was no movement. She just glanced as I hit that last tree, and there was no snarl, there was no kind of lifting of the lip. And so I think this is probably the distance at which we should stop. And what she also does, and I've seen her do this, is that she will close the distance to the vehicle. And that's because she doesn't see it as a threat. But then something on the vehicle will irritate her. Be it a loud voice, be it a camera shutter clicking, be it the movement of a cameraman, the beeping of a radio, something. And then she'll give that snarl again. And so, while I always used to be of the school of thought that if the animal approaches you, and, then it's kind of, well, then that's fine. She's obviously comfortable. But if she approaches you and you're doing a certain thing, you best stay doing that certain thing, because that's what's made her feel comfortable, if that makes sense. And it's only through this kind of being as sensitive as we can with her that she will stop this. And I'd love to know from some of our long-term viewers, perhaps, was this a thing that she did often, that she used to sort of lift her lip and snarl at vehicles? I've seen her do it to a lot of people, much less now actually since she had these two cubs. But before she had these cubs, I remember watching her rev a vehicle from, she was probably 20 meters away, and the car came in and the guests were being very loud, making a noise, and she gave a good charge. And I haven't seen her do that again. But I'd love to know if that's been a characteristic of her life forever. No, Arun, I don't think so. It's a good question from you. You say, could it be that she's being sort of ornery, if you like, because she's pregnant again? No, I don't think so. I'm interested, of course, now if you're wondering where that question comes from, everyone, she did mate with Tingana for a few days. Probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I think it's unlikely that she's pregnant. It took 6 mating events with Tingana last time for her to fall pregnant. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was a proto-estrus. I don't know if she was trying to lure him away from them. I don't know what it was, but I think it's highly unlikely that she ovulated and that she's pregnant again. I may be proved entirely wrong, and I accept that completely. We have so often spoken utter nonsense about these leopards under the assumption that we know what's going on, and most of the time we just got no idea. Oh, now a man after my own heart. James, you're wondering what the fuzzy grass species is in front of the leopard's face. Well, there are a few. A thing that looks like a bottle brush is called cat's tail, or Parotis patens. There, that you can see the bottle brush grass there. It's not called bottle brush grass. Then to the left of that you can see the drooping sort of florets of one of the Aristida species. I'm not sure exactly which one that is. And then if you come back a little bit, one of the 3 orns in English. Then what else we got there? That's pretty much it. I did see another species. Well done, Craig. There's a bit of, that's not a grass, that's a flower of some sort. Oh, there. That's finger grass. You can see that very long culm with the 3 long fingers. That's called Digitaria eriantha, or the finger grass. And I did see another quite interesting one, if I can spot it from here. No, it's largely Aristida, the Parotis patens, and that Digitaria. Now, of those 3 species of grass, now I know it seems a little churlish to be talking about grass when you've got a leopard, but the leopard's not doing anything, so let's talk about the grass. Those 3 species of grass are actually pretty poor grazing grasses, and are indicative that this area has probably been slightly overgrazed. So during the drought, what you will find is that this area was heavily grazed, and so these plants that increase under huge grazing pressure have done just that. They've increased. Little Xongile has deigned to lift her regal head and put it back down again. So thank you, Tiki. You say that loud noises over the last few years have irritated Karula. That certainly seems to my mind to be what does it. Even though she will close the distance, silence doesn't seem to bug her too much. But absolutely noise, loud voices, squeaking brakes, revving engines, they do seem to irritate her. I suppose, as we all get older, so loud noises tend to irritate us more and more. Luckily we don't play any M&M around her. Yeah, Roger, I don't think so. I'll tell you why. You say, and I think it's a very good thought, you say, does she perhaps get irritated with vehicles because they could be spooking her prey? No, I don't think so, and I don't think so simply because she sometimes uses vehicles to sort of as cover for her prey. And it's not when she's hunting that she's like this. It's in situations like this, when she's lying down, she's relaxed, there is a kill on the ground, and the cubs are around, that she tends to get just a little bit more protective of her life. And I suspect that it is too much pressure that's caused this. I think it's too many people spending a little bit not too much time with her, but vehicles driving in and out of sightings the whole time and getting too close, getting complacent. And eventually a wild animal's going to say, that's enough, that's close enough, back off. And that's just what she's doing. And it will happen with absolutely any wild animal. We tend to start to believe, especially younger guides in this area, tend to see these animals as tame, almost as completely tame. And there's nothing tame about that leopard. There's nothing tame about her youngsters. And we would do well to remember that. And so because they are wild, there comes a stage beyond which they will get irritated and tell us in no uncertain terms to get out of there. Now, just can you back the focus up a bit, Craigus? Yeah, there we go. That kind of wheat-like grass. You see that one? There we are. That's called red top. If I'm looking at the right thing. Yep, that's red top. Also an indicator of overgrazing. That's very nice to see. Well, nice to see from the point of view of my story. Digitaria is very good for grazing, so that's what that grass is. And if you go a little bit left from there, Craig, I saw another one, and I mainly want to show it to you because I want to say the name. No, I think it's all that. No, there it is. Okay, zoom in top of screen. Up a bit, and to the right, there, you're on it. Now just back the focus up. That's him. Schmidia paperophoides. Schmidia paperophoides. That's what that is. Thanks, Craig. I've forgotten what the common name is. Alright, we're going to sit with these leopards for a bit longer. Byron is tramping about, stomping about in his large shoes with his large legs, and I'm hoping that he hasn't stood on anything, but let's hope that he has something nice to show you.
James, I haven't stood on anything, fortunately. Now, we're busy tracking through a very thick area. Just have a look around me. We're on the edge of a drainage line. We're having a look to see if we can find out where those leopard tracks go. They've headed down the drainage line, so from left to right in this direction. So we're having a good look. Herbert's actually just gone down into the drainage line, and we're having a look on the edge around here. We do have to be very careful. It is very thick, so we've got to listen out for other animals. If there might be buffalo or anything in this area, this is an ideal area for buffalo. There are a few mud wallows and little pans around here too. So we are just having a good look. And I hear something coming through the bush. Let's have a look what it is. It's very close. It looks aggressive. It's Herbert. Herbert's just coming through there, so fortunately we don't have to worry. Let's come out of it. So it looks like Herbert says, let's just find out from Herbert actually. Herbert, which way do you see the tracks going? Carry out that side, so shall we go out that way? So Herbert has just been down in the drainage line. He's been looking for tracks down on that side while we've been looking over here. He says he did see the tracks down at the bottom, and they're still going down the drainage line. So we know that leopards, when they are moving around, they prefer these thick areas. It's ideal to hide, and sometimes leopards are known as fringe hunters, which means they move through the edge of the drainage lines looking for animals like inyala, bushbuck, and possibly even kudu that feed on the edges and in the thickets. And we actually saw a group of inyala earlier. They were very relaxed. We came out of the drainage line. They were at a small pan. They saw us. They carried on feeding and slowly moved off. Just before we could show you, unfortunately. But quite a large family group of inyala, a lot of youngsters, and there were 1 or 2 males with them too, which was great. So this is a lovely area to be looking for a leopard. And I'm assuming that that with it being so thick, he's possibly gone and looked for a shady spot to rest. It was very warm this afternoon. You can see we're still sweating quite a bit. Warm and muggy with all the humidity around because of the rain that we've had. And we're going to have to look for an area to cross through this thick drainage line. There's a bit of a game path here, but we do have to be careful. Constantly scanning, just having a look around. This looks a bit thick, and I don't think we'll be able to get through here anyway. If you look down, it looks like quite a steep embankment just over there, beyond that tree, and then around here, and it's very, very thick. I don't think we'll be able to get through there. We might head back and head around and try to go out that way. It's hot, very hot. So let's see if we can get out of here. Now, let's see if I can get out of here. While I'm making my way around and trying to get through here, let's head back to Taylor and get an update from her and see where she is and what she's got.
We've come to another open area, and I'm just having a quick scan around to see if there's maybe a jackal or anything along those lines moving around here, maybe sitting under the shade of a tree. But it seems very quiet for the moment, and I haven't been able to find those elephants just yet. I'm not sure where they've gone. David, I don't think we must go to Buffalo Pan just yet. I think let's give these elephants one more go. I thought I'd heard a branch breaking in the middle of this block sort of here. So I wonder if they're not right inside it. And you know how thick the bush is now. It's almost impossible to see it. It's so dense that you can even hide, of course, the largest African mammal. What is that? No, I'm looking at I think it's a grasshopper. Look here, David. What's on your camera? Is it a grasshopper? It's something. Yes, it's a tiny. We're going to leave it there. It can sit there. I'm not going to disturb it, but it's one of those little crested locusts or grasshoppers, sorry, that Steph often finds. He seems to find them, but it's a tiny, teeny one. It probably, I don't even know how to describe how big that is. Half the size of your smallest nail on your finger. It is really teeny tiny, and it's just catching a ride with us now. Right, let's see. Maybe we get lucky. These ellies, they move quite quickly. So perhaps we'll catch them over here. But I didn't see any tracks even crossing into Mala, so I'm not sure where they are. Hopefully we'll get them though. Oh, squirrel! He's gone up a little bit. So straight towards, you seen him? There he is. Hello, squirrel. There's no getting away from Dangerous Dave. He's got eagle eyes and he's lightning fast. You can't evade him at all. And I think the squirrel thinks that we can't see it because it seems to be a little bit more relaxed now. You know how they normally just scurry away. Up it goes. And they are nimble little creatures. They are so quick. They jump exceptionally well. And you're going to go to the top of the tree now. And it probably lives in this tree somewhere around here. Hello. Oh, you're putting on a fantastic show for us. I love the way they sort of flatten their bodies and sort of crawl around the trees. He's gone on the other side now. He doesn't want to be around anymore, but at least we got to see that little squirrel. And isn't it going to be exciting? Hopefully we're going to start to see some young squirrels. But I don't know. I haven't seen any little squirrels since I've been here. We've only seen the baby mongoose, the pups. We've seen them. And that's really all. You know what I've never seen? A baby slender mongoose. David, have you ever seen a baby slender mongoose? I don't think that they have babies. I think that they just replicate themselves and then they just are there. It's sort of like, I suppose, with the guinea fowls. We never see any little guinea fowls, but there's always big ones. But enough nonsense for me. And speaking about birds, we saw one earlier. James has got a vulture.
Right, there is a vulture, as Taylor was saying to you, waiting patiently. As Craig said to me, will they wait patiently for, the opportunity to come and feed here? And of course they will. They don't know when the leopards are going to leave. Oh, my goodness. Dave, at least Craig, there's a waterbuck. There's a whole lot of waterbuck coming, wandering through the sighting. Can you see them there? There we are. They have no idea that the leopards are here, obviously. Not a threat, of course, the leopards, to the waterbuck like that, but they would certainly alarm, and they wouldn't like to be around the leopards. That's very cool. Anyway, those vultures are going to wait. I mean, they don't know what's going to happen here. I think it's most likely, well, from Karula's point of view, the planning of this would go eat a bit more, get it into probably the scraggly tree over here, or perhaps one taller one closer by, or a little further away, and then perhaps feed on it until it's finished. The vulture's plan would be for her to go off and have a drink. They'll nip down, have something to eat, fly back into the tree when she comes back, and maybe repeat the process while she's away again having a drink. I think what's most likely to happen is a hyena will come running through here during the course of the night, steal it and take it away from her. She has not shown a willingness to hoist kills this size for some time, and I think it's probably still too big for her. All right, I think that we should go and look for Hosana quickly. Oh dear. We cannot start the car. Right, this is wonderful. Michael and Virginia, what a perfectly opportune moment for your rather lengthy question, clearly not asked on 143 characters allowed on Twitter. Well, Craig, settle in for the night. I hope you brought some fruit, did you? What have you brought us to eat? Nothing. Right. Michael, while I settle in for the long haul, you say, I think this car might start, Louise. Don't call tech team just yet. We might just have to let it have a rest for a while. Right, I'm just thinking about your question because it's a really nice one. You say, basically, you've noticed that there are more females than males around in these areas. And if we look at, for example, the ratio of male leopards to female leopards, we know that in a territorial area, if we discount all the cubs or non-territorial animals, we have roughly three females to one male. And if you look at lion prides, of course we have, well, it's roughly the same actually. We've got 3 prides of lions dominated by the Birmingham boys, and there are 4 of them, and in total, there are almost 12 lionesses, so it's roughly 1 in 3. That's not a birth ratio, Michael. The birth ratio is 50-50. In the predators like this, far fewer males actually make it to adulthood and make it to taking a territory than do females, because life is so much harder. And the evolutionary reason for that is that they're not required. Let's take these leopards. So inside Tingana's territory, he's actually got probably more than 3 females, does he? He's got Shadow and Tundi and Karula, mum and 2 daughters, and I suppose perhaps a few of the females up, or one of the females up north in Buffels Hook. I'm not sure who that would be, because he did, of course, eat Shuluva, which was a little bit disappointing. But let's say 3 or 4 females he's got in his territory. There is no need to have further males here, because he has dominated. He's got to a point where he's managed to dominate a territory, and he can quite easily satisfy the mating needs of these females. So there's no evolutionary reason for there to be another male in the area. A male's role in child upbringing extends to the mating period, and that's it. That's all he has to do from there, and then he just protects the area from other marauding males. And I think what that does, what the more active a male is in the upbringing of the youngsters, you'll find the closer the ratio of male to female reaches 50. Our own species, a classic example of that. Our fathers invest a huge amount in parental care, and therefore they're almost a 50-50 ratio of men to women. Out here that isn't the case. They're born 50-50 ratio, but by the time they get to adulthood, many of the males have been knocked off. Now what that does, of course, is weed out any weakness that there might be in the genetic line. Much of the death that happens to males before they become territorial is due to luck. They happen upon a lion by mistake, they get into a fight when they shouldn't have, they get attacked by hyenas by mistake, something like that. But a lot of it has got to do with superior genetic specimens, and those are the genes that you want perpetuated into the next generation. And because the males play no role at all in raising the youngsters, their role is simply to protect a territory from other males coming in, there's no need to have more of them. So I hope that kind of answers your question. And I think you'll find, let's look at Impala, for example. I'm not sure what the ratio is. There are definitely fewer males than females. It's actually quite interesting. I'm starting to doubt what I said to you around the ratio being dependent on the amount of parental care there is, because I don't think that is the case, actually. In fact, in the Impala and in the buffalo, for example, I reckon the ratio is probably close to 50-50. It's probably slightly lower than that. So let's say that there, for every 1 male, there are probably 1.2 females. Let's say that's what the ratio is. Just because the males get whacked quite a lot during the rut, when they're fighting with each other over mating, they get taken out quite frequently. Karula's finding this discussion fascinating, Michael. Look at her, she's listening with rapt attention. And in buffalo, I would suspect it's probably quite similar. The bulls also play absolutely no role in parental upbringing, but they do play a role, of course, in protecting the herds, and indirectly by moving away from the herds when they get old, and therefore distracting and pulling predators away. So, I mean, the major reason, Michael, is simply that they play no role in upbringing, and there's therefore no real need for there to be a huge number of males. I hope that kind of answers your question. I think it's a fascinating subject. Right, I'm going to see if I can start this car. While we do that, Byron has a worm.
No, James, that's not good news. Told Jigga not to start with you. All right. Now we've been discussing a lot about camouflage. Now have a look at this little caterpillar that I found on a Combretum apiculatum, or red bush willow. This tiny caterpillar, so well camouflaged, it actually just looks like one of the stems of this tree. Brown color, look at that, almost exactly the same color. Very, very well camouflaged. Busy feeding on the leaves of this Combretum. Isn't that wonderful? Looks almost like what we call these inchworms, the way they move, where they, and I'll show you. I'm just going to let go of this little guy. I'm not going to flick him, I'm just going to let him up slowly. There we go. Oh, sorry. Those inchworms, when they move the tail and the front part of the body together, and then they move like that. That's exactly how that little worm moves too, or that caterpillar. Now, something else that I've managed to find that isn't very well camouflaged is this beautiful white giant land snail shell. It's amazing how white they go after the snail has died in there, but you can see this was a very, very big one. It was actually buried in some sand and mud, but it was sticking out. Just that little section was sticking out very, very clear and easy to find. But a beautiful big giant land snail shell. I find them fascinating. To think that we find these all the way out here, these snails. Another thing I found fascinating was when James found that freshwater crab the other day. Now, I don't know when last I saw freshwater crab out here, so that was incredible. I'm going to put the shell next to the road. Maybe someone else driving past can spot it for their guests and show it to them. Well, let's carry on. I heard something moving through the bushes here. I'm going to see if we can see what it was. It sounded like some antelope. Just having a good look. They may have moved off already. You see the bush is very thick at the moment. Let me just scan. Hang on, follow me. Let's see if we can get through there. I think I see something. Let's just walk through here. Let's have a look. I think I see some antelope. I think I are some inyala. Let's go through here. Rian, this is probably the easiest way. I have to show you how relaxed the inyala are while we are on foot. Very different to a lot of the other antelope species. Oh, there we go. Come through here. Watch out, some thorns over here. There we go. See, that's why a stick is quite useful. Get the branches out the way. There we go. The sun is a little bad, but we can see them. Can you see straight ahead? There's a male inyala, and it looks like a female off to the left. We got them there, Jan? There we go. Got the male. There we go. That's what I heard moving through the trees. Wonderful. So these are like little things we're looking for. Let's actually go a bit closer and see how much closer we can get without startling them. Now, this might have been the group that we saw earlier while we were in the thicket, and I think they've moved out in this direction. Just going to have a look. We are walking into the sun, which is always tricky and not ideal when you are walking, because you want to be able to see very, very well. But come on, follow me. We're very, very close to them. Oh, there's a baby there too. Let me see if I can show you. Now, they seem quite relaxed with us, which is good. I'm still constantly scanning around just to make sure there aren't any other animals. Oh wow, come look here. This is incredible. Have a look through here, everybody. There they are. Still very relaxed. There's a female, there's a young male there. This is wonderful. Very, very nice. Let me see if I can find that youngster for you. The young lamb. Here we go. This might be a wonderful angle through here. There's the lamb. Just to the right. Lovely. Isn't this amazing? There's a young male, a few females, the young lamb, and the big bull. Oh, fantastic. Now, I actually had this conversation with Taylor the other day, because it came up in, I think in one of the drives. Somebody was asking about the young of inyala and what they're called, and And I mentioned to Taylor that the Nyala males are known as bulls, however the females are known as ewes. Now, I've spoken about this a few times, and they're the divide between large antelope and small antelope. So we know everything smaller than a Nyala is a ram and a ewe, and anything bigger is a bull and a cow. Now, Taylor has struggled to understand that concept. She doesn't know why an Nyala male can be known as a bull and why a female is known as a ewe. It just doesn't make sense to her. So if any of you back home have got a way of describing it, let me just move out the sun a little bit here, so it's not so bad. If any of you back home have got a way of describing it a bit better to her, I don't know the exact reason why. I think it's purely got to do with the size. So maybe we can explain to Taylor why it is. She says she understands why, or that it's called that, but she doesn't know why. So it's like the old explanation. It's called that because that's just the way it is. I don't know. So maybe I should just tell Taylor that, Taylor, it's just the way it is, all right. But wasn't that fantastic to see the Nyala on foot? There's a spider hunting wasp busy flying around us at the moment. It's about to sting Rian, and that could be tricky. You know that they paralyze their victims, so I may have to carry Rian home after this. Now we're going to continue, see what else we can find. It's fairly thick through here, so we might head back down to where it's a little bit open. We had no luck with those leopard tracks earlier. I think they've just moved right through the drainage line, and it started to get very thick for us to follow through there. Unfortunately, we couldn't, and we're running out of a bit of time to continue further away from the lodge. He may pop out later. We'll definitely notify James and Taylor, and if they drive through the area, you never know, he could pop out and move along a road somewhere. So maybe he's on Djuma. We're not sure. It's just a guess on our behalf. So let's see. Okay, now where shall we go? Now, Reese, you want to know what supplies does Herbie carry in his backpack? Now, Herbie carries water. He's got a first aid kit, basically some bandages. So if a lion mauls you to death, we can bandage you up. We've got, I think that's about it. There's rain covers just for the camera, and I think there's a spare earpiece just in case this one goes dead. And that's about it really, but mostly it's water. That's the most important. You can see my mouth is actually going very dry at the moment. I'm just having a look. I think Herbie spotted something interesting back here. What did you see, Herbie? Oh, little ants. These are those lemon drop ants, aren't they? Yeah, Polyrhynchus. I knew it was Penny or Polly or someone like that. Polyrhynchus, yeah, they are. These little ants over there, just on the end of the flower, little plant. The poly ants. I knew it was something like that. Sometimes you forget all these names, these long scientific names. Okay, well, we're going to continue through here, see if we can make our way through this thicker bush, and let's link away and see what the others are up to.
Polyrhynchus ants, Byron. That has made my day. Now I'm laughing and I'm teasing Byron because we all tease each other. It's quite funny, and I know the feeling when you've got the word in your brain and then something completely different comes out. You know that I do that about 10 times a drive. Oh, that fly almost took my eyeball out. But I think that should be the new name of those ants. No more Polyrhynchus ants. Polyrhynchus ants, and it's Karma as well. Karma's hit Byron hard for telling you the story about the ewe and the bull. I don't understand it. My brain refuses to understand it, but like Byron says, I need to just accept it. But I was trying to get an explanation out of him, and he couldn't give me one. He just says, because. The answer is because. Penny rankers. Speaking of penny rankers, we've got some white-crested helmet shrikes. Are they going to sit still for us? Nope. Oh, they're just flying to the next trees. We can try the next one. I think it opens up a little bit. Just hopping from bush willow to bush willow at the moment. No. Wait, birdies. Wait. They're a bit scared of us. They keep flying away. Don't fly away. And it's always difficult to try and get these birds on camera. Every now and then when we get them for 10 seconds, it's a long time to have the white-crested helmet shrikes on screen. They landed somewhere here. Let's see if we can see them. No, I think that they've moved on now. Sadly, okay, that's all right. Fine, we'll get the next ones. It's not a huge disaster in our lives. Now, we've been going round and around checking these areas because we had those male leopard tracks, and we saw Ephraim earlier when he told us about the elephants, and he said that when I was chatting to him on the radio at the beginning of drive, he was also scratching around, but he says he couldn't find anything. So we've been searching, nothing just yet, but I suspect on such a hot day, if it is quarantine, he's probably tucked himself under a nice tree somewhere or in a tree somewhere. And oh, by the way, we got a quick glimpse of some elephant bums, but they disappeared into a very, very thick and quite a big block. So we did another loop, and hopefully when we go back towards that area again, we're going to have them. So that's what we're going to do now. We've just done the Kruger Park boundary. We're coming towards the big plains on Cheetah Plains again. We'll give it one last bash around here, and then hopefully by the time we get back to where we last saw those elephants, they're hopefully going to have popped out. And from the quick glance that we got, I think it could be Short Trunk and her family, which will be quite exciting because I don't know when we've last seen them. David, it's been a long time. They've been very busy everywhere, but not anywhere near Djuma, which is a pity. We've got some new developments now. We've got a wildebeest. Let's see if we can get a view of him. There he is. He's through the trees in the far distance. Ooh. It's Gnorman. Hi, Gnorman. Are you missing your friend Brent? Gnorman's looking a little bit on the plump side, don't you think? He's been doing a lot of eating, I reckon. Rebecca says that Norman's been eating all of the pies. Not Rebecca, Louise. Why did I say Rebecca? Louise, are there pies out here? I'm calling everybody by strange different names today. You can call me anything. You can make up a new nickname for me today. I give everybody permission to make up one, and you can give it to me, and I shall take it. Louise just called me Sam, I think. Having a good scratch. And I've yet to see Norman with a herd of lady wildebeest. That's something I haven't seen him well with just yet. He seems to just live the solitary life all on his own. And he's a lovely bull, and I can't imagine why he doesn't have a herd of females with him. Maybe it's because I don't know. Louise, you're full of jokes there. Louise says he's focused on his career. Fair enough. David, you don't agree with that. David did one of the snort giggles. He found that exceptionally funny. Actually, David, don't you think this is the most magnificent view on Cheetah Plains? Just how open it is, and we've got all this golden light now as well. The sun is dropping fairly quickly, but it is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. And it's so nice to see it so green. And maybe you've got some photos from a few months back of what Cheetah Plains used to look like before we had all of the rain. And if you do, maybe you can do like a little collage or something with a picture from today and a picture from a couple of months ago, maybe if you remember the date or even just the month. And it would be nice to share it because we do have a lot of new viewers who probably don't even know what we're talking about when we say that this area looked like a desert. So I'm sure that they would be excited to see that how the rain has completely transformed this area. And the grass is just going to get longer and longer, and I hope by the end of the week, we will get some more rain. And just a little bit, 10 or 15 mils of rain will be absolutely perfect. But that is stunning, isn't it? So lush, vibrant colors, and then of course the perfect African sun. And I think we're going to get a nice sunset tonight. What do you think, David? Do you think it's going to be good? Yeah, this is a really nice spot. But I think it's time for us now to keep moving and go and try and find those elephants. Oh, did I tell you, David, we didn't tell them that we saw Namakwa doves. We very quickly, we were trying to find the elephants. We were on this road here on the boundary between Mala Mala. Where's my bird book? Actually, we'll just use the bird app because... What have you got, David? Oh, it looks like a pipit. Hello, African pipit. This is one that we don't see very often. They're normally quite shy and they live in the long grass. But that's a very nice one to see. An LBJ, a little brown job, is what a lot of people will call the small birds out there. So that could be another one for you to add to your list. Let me show you. No, maps, go away. We want bird. Yes, bird. What bird are we looking for, David? The dove. Okay, let's go D for dove. And I think it's on the next page. Yes, down here. I'm going to turn my phone very quickly like that. And let's get a real picture. Where's a goodie? Here's a goodie. No, that's the female that you can see there. Not beautifully colored. Very much like a dove, except they've got an exceptionally long tail. But let me swipe to find a male. Let's find a goodie of the male. There we go. But isn't that beautiful? Such drastic colors. The black on the face around the eyes and then down the breast. And then, of course, that yellow and red bill. They are beautiful birds. And then very long tails. And slightly smaller than a turtle dove. So a little bit more on the slender side. But lovely. And they're hanging around here. So that'll be another one. If we can get them this afternoon. Something that we don't see a lot of. In Zambia, you'd see massive flocks. Huge flocks. Like 50 or 60 together just on the ground. That was really, really nice. Right. Elephants. Norman, where are the elephants? Not here. And it's cooled down very nicely as well, so we might get, if there are any cheetah or anything on the plains, we might start to see them moving again. But not just yet. David has actually requested this afternoon that we find a big tusker, a big elephant bull with massive tusks. Oh, there's a car down there, David. Is it a car? I don't think so. I think I've made it up. I think it is actually... No, it is. I think somebody's having a bathroom break. Let's not maybe zoom in there. Wouldn't that be horribly awkward? You're trying to use the luxury facilities and, the next minute... Hey? Can you imagine? They've just stopped, to use the facilities, of course, because that's what happens when you go on drive and you drink a lot of drinks and water, is that you need to use the facilities, and the poor rangers just stop to try and, hide them away, go into a spot where not too many people drive, and then here we are zooming in a very vulnerable position. So no, we won't look. I just thought maybe that wouldn't be a good idea. So, especially if they're out the vehicle, that probably means that there's no animals around. So we won't bother there then. David, where are we going now? Where are we going? Yeah, did we come this is the way we need to go, right? This is where we had the leopard tracks, isn't it? Let's see if the leopard tracks are still here. Yes, they are. Let me go and have a closer inspection. Big footprints. I'm going to look and go this way. Look here. This is from this morning. Now the sand is quite soft, of course, so you might get a little bit confused, and you'll see that the toes almost look like a hyena's toes. They almost look bean-shaped, but they're not, because the pad of the foot here has got 3 lobes. And then as you go on, you get round the corner, there's some much clearer tracks. But I definitely think this area is most likely quarantine that's been around here. And they're not too old. They really aren't too old. They were from this morning. And it was over the dew as well. So it couldn't have been too far behind him. So maybe he's still just laying in this block over here. Let's do a little search while we go and try and find those elephants. See, we had them going, ooh, squirrel! He panicked for a moment and darted away, and then I think realized, they probably don't want to eat me. But now watch, let's see if the squirrel's going to do the big leaps as it moves through the grass. No? Oh, that is probably one of my favorite things to actually watch. You saw a bit of movement? No, you're going up the tree now. Is the way that they leap up into the air, like I described what the steenbok and common duiker are doing. The squirrels do exactly the same thing. Is he going to go to the edge of that log? Maybe he's a little bit shy. Nope, hiding away now. We're having good luck with the squirrels, so well done, David. You're doing an exceptional job. I was just checking out David's favorite tree, the African wattle, the white gold tree. Just having a good look. So the other leopard tracks are here going along the road, but they're going up and down. He's definitely pacing. So now we just need to figure out where this leopard had stopped to have a siesta. And it's hard to see anything in here. Lots of bush willows. Lots of different shrubs here. Right. Sorry, Louise, I can't hear your questions at the moment. Louise tried to tell me something, but unfortunately these gremlins keep jumping on the radio. Oh, look at the birds. We're just having all the animals today. It's my favorite, one of my favorite little doves, the emerald spotted wood dove. And that is most likely the female in hot pursuit. Behind her, the male. Let's see if he's going to do a little display for us. Yeah, they're sort of just going their separate way. There we go. I love the way that the light catches those beautiful green emerald spots. And they're such dainty little birds. I always think that the turtle doves and the red-eyed doves are big, clumsy things. But of course, these beautiful little emerald spotted wood doves, as well as the laughing doves, they're so gorgeous. Do we need to go on this road? Okay, so we're going to go back towards Cheetah Plains Pan and we're going to have a look there. Hopefully these elephants have made their way out. But we're going to circle around here because I have a really good feeling. I think there's probably a leopard lying somewhere close by. So we'll just keep our eyes and ears open and we'll keep listening for those two animals. But I know that the sun is starting to drop and I don't know what Byron's going to do for his last couple of segments of the show, but I'm sure that he'll do something that will make us all smile. So let's not waste any more time and go and say hello to him.
Taylor, I'll try my best to do something to make you smile, or all of you. We are starting to make our way back. The sun is starting to drop a little bit. We've had a wonderful walk so far. I haven't seen any other animals around just yet. Birds are calling, and a beautiful bird, the red-chested cuckoo. Now, I wonder if you can hear it. It's a little bit far, you might just be able to pick up on it, but I was hoping to show it to you because I know this morning we were in that leopard sighting and we had one very, very close, and some of you wanted to see it, but I couldn't find it. I was looking for it in the trees to show you, but unfortunately we couldn't see it. Now, Lou was actually asking, Lou missed this morning's drive, and maybe some of you missed it too, and you don't know what Byron's tip of the day was. So I've been asked to do it again. So today's tip of the day is please remember to have patience in the bush. Patience is very important when you are on safari, and we saw this morning it paid off for us. We got to see all three leopards. And Stephanie, you're also wondering what the tip of the day was, so I hope you got it now. We saw it this morning with Karula and her two cubs. We sat there for quite some time. We got to see all three of them, and young Hosana brought out his kill, or I'm not sure if he killed it or if Karula killed it, but there was a large water monitor that they found, and he was dragging it around, which was very, very interesting to see. And we got a lovely view of them, and just purely because we sat there and waited for a long time. So patience, that's all I can say and suggest, is enjoy the sightings, be in the moment, enjoy what you're seeing. Don't think about what's coming up next. Enjoy what is happening in front of you at that time. All right, I'm going to be heading back up towards quarantine. Here's an interesting track. Have a look at this. It's a smiley face. Have a nice day, everyone. It's a Byron track.
Taylor said you thought you had something to make us.
Exactly. So Taylor, you wanted something to make you smile, so maybe that worked. Now we're going to be heading back up towards quarantine. I wonder if those wildebeest are around again. Maybe a few herds of impala. We'll have a look. The sun is setting quite fast at the moment. Still got a fair walk ahead of us. Now the thing is, also when you are walking around, just when you do start heading back towards camp, some people often drop their heads and they know they're on their home stretch, they're heading back. That's often when accidents happen. Always still need to be alert and aware of what's going on around you. Constantly checking, because you never know. Something could have come out close to the camp, buffalo, elephant, anything like that. So we're still very, very alert and aware of what's going on around us. Listening out for oxpeckers. We do know that they help us find animals when they are calling. I'll just carry on up here now. This is that wild basil, I think. Yeah, I think so. These little flowers. Just double check with my guru Herbert. These purple ones, is this the wild basil? No, what is this? I always get confused. Now, who is it? Is it Judy H? I think you always help James identify the flowers. Now I get confused. These little purple flowers. Now what is this? I don't know what these are. I'm trying to think. So Judy H, if you so Herbert's trying to remember the scientific name, which is very, very difficult. Not sure what these are. So Judy H, if you wouldn't mind helping me out a little bit with this one. Now that I think about it, though, the wild basil is a little bit larger, very different to that. I'm not sure what those are. Whew, it's very, very warm at the moment. And here's some beautiful devil's thorn. These devil thorn flowers. They look almost foxglove-like, but they're not. These are definitely the devil thorn, and that's the whole devil's thorn plant. I wonder if I can find a little thorn on here to show you. I don't see any. Beautiful purple flowers. A lot of purple around at the moment. Alright, Christina, now you want to know how far can safari guides walk, or how far do we usually walk in the bush? So when we're doing Safari Live, we can end up walking a few kilometers at times. Might even be anywhere between 3 and 7 kilometers on a 3-hour bush walk. It all depends. When we're walking guests, it also depends on the guests. It depends how fit they are. It depends on the area that you're walking in. So it also depends on the length of time. Often what I do with guests is, if they do want to walk, we'll wake up really early and we'll do our normal game drive. So we'll head out on our safari. Probably do that for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then when we stop somewhere, we'll stop and have our coffee and maybe a biscuit or something to eat, just a little snack. And this is usually in the mornings. And then what I'll do is I'll walk the guests back to camp, just in time for breakfast. And the reason why I prefer doing that is because the temperature is usually a lot cooler, especially in summer. I mean, it does get very, very hot, as you know. So it's a nice time of the morning to walk. You've also still got a lot of animal activity, animals moving around, which you might be able to find. And then it depends. You could walk for an hour, hour and a half, but you can do that a few times. It depends, because obviously you're on safari for a few days. And that then gives the guests the opportunity to experience a bushwalk. And then you also enjoy the drive in the morning, which is nice, because obviously people are out here you want the full experience, but you generally want to find as much wildlife as possible, and the easiest way for that is to be on a vehicle. You're tracking and looking for animals. So yeah, it all depends on how the guests feel, the distance you're covering depends on how long you're out for. Now we've just come out towards quarantine clearings. Now I'm going to search around and see if those wildebeest are perhaps on the clearings, or some more impala. James is still sitting with leopard. Let's go and see what they're up to.
Byron probably walks about as far as Hosana has walked today. You can see there, he is fast asleep next to the water. He's walked about 400 feet or so to get to where he is. And now he's fast asleep. As is his mother, as is his sister. I'm being very unkind to Byron. I'm sure he's walked many miles today. Byron apparently is now threatening to give me a hiding when I get back. To Byron I say, "Do you think you'll be able to catch me?" And there will be some witty retort coming back very shortly. Anyway, Hosana and his family are thoroughly satiated with impala. Byron apparently says yes, he will catch me because he's so clever, and he'll catch me while I'm asleep. That is quite clever, actually. I shall lock my door today and close my windows. I do not want to wake up with Byron staring at me in the night. That is a fate too awful to contemplate. And what Hosana is contemplating right now, one can only guess. But it is interesting, the last few times that they've had a kill like this, he is very much playing the lone star. Mum and Xongile tend to lurk around together, and he moves away once he's fed, and he lies on his own. I mean, he's probably, yeah, let's say 600 feet or so, probably about, no, even more than that, probably about 1,000 feet from them. He's about 300 meters from where the other two are. Long way from the kill. He came to this water. It's not even the closest water to where he was. Obviously he decided to have a drink, and he's feeling absolutely no fear. And for him to be lying there, I think is quite odd, because I mean, he's completely exposed, totally exposed to any other animal that might come along here. A hyena could come along, a lion could come along. I mean, very unlikely they're going to come along now, but they could. And he's just lying there completely comfortably, which I think is quite odd. So asserting a little bit of his independence, and I don't know if you were watching this morning, everyone, but he managed to kill himself a rock monitor. Now, I don't know if you were watching about, must have been almost exactly a week ago, that Kuchava, the daughter of Tandi, the oldest daughter of Tandi, I think, maybe not the oldest, but certainly one of the daughters of Tandi, she killed, or tried to kill, a monitor lizard. And the lizard gave her what for, hissed and swished his tail at her and bit at her and scratched at her, and eventually she just walked off looking rather embarrassed. Well, young Hosana here had no such qualms, and he had himself some lizard for breakfast. And so he's not particularly hungry right now, I don't imagine, but I'm sure he's had a good fill of impala as well. Who knows, he may go independent, of course, before 2 years, but it would be around 2 years you'd expect him to disappear. Between 2 and 3 years, actually. Now many of you are wondering how I managed to start the car. This is Jigger. Jigger is about as temperamental as, what shall we say? No, I'm not going to say that. Very temperamental car, and recalcitrant, unmanageable, a bit like Byron, and it's got an immobilizer function here that sometimes needs to be engaged and sometimes doesn't, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. At the moment, it seems to be working. Now that I've disengaged it, why don't we go back and see if the other two have come back to the kill. It looked like they might be getting up sometime soon. The sun is about to set through the trees there, and Hosana is doing Zilcho. In fact, he couldn't be less obliging if he tried right now. I'm so glad they've got such a nice big kill. I just hope that she gets it up into a tree. It's very heavy. Oh gosh. It's not good news. Almost managed to get us stuck by just reversing off the road. There's a little bit of a hole there. Doesn't take much to get a Land Rover stuck, clearly. Alright, let's knock in here. See what's happening. Now the reason I've spent the whole day with them here, for 3 hours I've been sat with these cats, and that is simply because I can't remember the last time this has happened. I have spent many drives driving around this place finding nothing, and now that we have these cats I'm not letting them go for any money in the world. So while I go and see if these other two have managed to get up, Byron would like to say good night to you in the most polite way he knows how.
I'm just scanning the clearings. No sign of any wildebeest or impala just yet, but an incredible sunset and silhouette through the trees. It really is beautiful. Now, James, you have had a full go at me this afternoon, so I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to tell everyone the story of touch rugby. Now, some of you have asked about stories of James in the past, and I haven't shared this one yet, and I feel I should now, because he said that would I be able to catch him for one thing, and I don't walk very far. So when I started guiding, and James was basically given the honor of teaching me. James, we used to play a lot of touch rugby at the lodge we worked at. Every day we would go out and play, and one of the first games we played together, James got the ball, and now James is quite quick on his feet. I think it's because he's very aerodynamic. He doesn't have much wind resistance like some of us. And while we were running through the clearing, James got the ball, he took a gap, and he thought he was home free for the try, and I managed to come through and not quite touch him. I tackled him. It was an accident, apparently, and James describes it as I surfed him on the dirt track, or on the dirt field that we were playing on. So he got a graze across his chest and legs, I think. So, James, you know I can catch you if I have to. Maybe only in touch rugby, but so that was a funny story. He wasn't too happy for some reason. Anyway, it was an accident, though. I did apologize. And he still passed me, so he couldn't have been that upset about it. Anyway, we've had a wonderful bushwalk. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Now we are going to head back to camp and rest our weary legs. So from Herbert and Rian on camera this afternoon, from myself, it's been wonderful. We'll see you all tomorrow, and let's head back to James. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome everybody from the Apache School in California. What a wonderful name for a school. Wish I'd been to a school with a name like that. Look, over there. There we have leopards. Now, while I tell you, my name is James Hendry, and we've got Craig on camera. You've met Byron. I think he was just going home, of course. We've also got Taylor, who's my friend out here. Look at that beautiful leopard cub. She's just 11 months old, and she's been eating meat all day long. She's been eating an impala. And we're just going to sit here for half an hour and enjoy them. And you can ask me any questions you like at all. Just send them through to your teacher, and she will send through any questions that you have to me, and we'll have a wonderful time together with these cats. So this is a leopard, and the leopard occurs all the way through Africa. We are in Africa at the moment, and from Africa all the way across the Middle East into Asia and down into parts of Russia even. So this cat is very widely distributed around the world. And we've spent all afternoon here with them. We've had such a lovely time. It's about 85 degrees Fahrenheit or so, which is in Celsius about 32 degrees Celsius or 30 degrees Celsius. So it's lovely and warm. There's a gentle wind blowing now because the sun has just gone down. So I know it must be a little bit confusing because of course it's morning where you are and we're about to go into night time. But that's just how the world works, because we're a very, very long way east of where you are. We're also a long way south of where you are, which means we're having summer now, even though you're having winter. And I don't think the winter in California is too cold, so you're probably pretty warm. Hello, Ania. Why do you think it's dry? You say, since it's dry, where do the animals drink? It's not that dry here, Ania. There's enough water for them, and in fact we were watching this leopard's son, so the brother of Xongile, who you've just been looking at, the little one lying in the bush. He's lying next to a puddle of water, and there's quite a lot of water around at the moment. It can get very, very dry here, but at the moment this is our rainy season, so there are lots of puddles and ponds that are full of water that the animals can come and drink from. So it can be very dry here, but only in the winter. We don't get any rain here in the winter, which I think is opposite from you in California. I think you get your wind, at least your rain, in the winter time, and in the summertime it's a bit drier. And here it's the opposite. You might also be able to hear a bird calling. They're proop, 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 proop. That is a Cape turtle dove. And you might be able to hear a rain locust going. Those are all sounds of the summertime. Now, Serenity, you want to know what they eat? Well, they've been eating meat all day, and that meat is from an animal called an impala. And an impala is, well, I suppose it's a bit like a deer, a bit smaller than a white-tailed deer. And it's our most common antelope that we get out here. And the impala, I'll take you to see it just now. I'm hoping actually they're going to get up and go and feed on it a little bit later. It's under a tree not too far from where we're sitting right now. And that's what they were eating, and that's what they will continue to eat, probably for most of the night. It's a good question, Serenity, but meat, remember, these are carnivores. Same as lions, same as hyenas, same as wild dogs, same as, well, mongoose even. They like to eat meat more than they like to eat anything else, and that's what these leopards eat. Isn't that beautiful? So this is what we do every single day. We're very lucky. We come on safari here, and it's very exciting to do this every day. Now, one of the things that I hope that you will come and see in Africa one day, because it looks better here than it does anywhere else in the world, is the sunset. And Taylor wants to show you that right now.
I do indeed, but before I show you it, I must tell you that isn't it amazing that you are watching us from the other end of the world, and as the sun sets here, your day is just getting started down there. Have a look at what we've got. And one of the most iconic things out in South Africa, of course, and by the way, it's so happy to have you joining us, as all the lovely children who are watching now, is that you always have to have a dead tree in the picture when you have a sunset. And I'm sure you've seen many, many postcards with a very similar shot to this one that we're looking at right now. And we've also just arrived at the Chitwa airstrip, and I've never been here before, and it's actually quite beautiful. But this sunset is going to get better and better. Now, David, I've seen a bird. My eyes have gone a little bit blinder from staring into the sun, which you shouldn't do. You must never look into the sun. It looks like a black-bellied bustard actually just moving off about there. There it is. Goes there, well spotted. Look at that bird with a long neck. Hello. That is a black-bellied bustard. And that is the male. And he's walking around in this long grass trying to find all sorts of things to eat. And I'm sure he's also looking for a lady friend. But he almost completely disappears in that grass. Watch what happens, David. Should we zoom out slowly and show all the children how quickly and how well camouflaged he is? Look at that. See how he's starting to disappear? And if he were frightened, he could sit down in that grass. Look at that. And he'd completely go away. You wouldn't know where he was. But they're also very good at flying. So if they do feel a little bit scared, they will fly away too. Hello, Riley. Riley, you're wondering what my favorite animal in Africa is? It's the elephants. Elephants are my absolute favorite. I think that they are the most gorgeous creatures out in the African bush, of course. I want to go up further. I want to see if we can get another view of the sunset. And I like all the animals. I like lots of frogs. Frogs have to be my close second favorite. Maybe I like them even more than the elephants, but they have to be my favorite. David, look at it now. I just want to try and get a clear view for you this time. Kevin, good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon here. You're wondering, what is the coolest thing I've ever seen? My goodness. One of the coolest things I've ever seen has got to even do with my favorite animal, and that I've seen elephants swimming. And especially in Zambia, we used to see a lot of elephants crossing the big rivers, and they're very good at swimming. Sometimes the water would get so deep, you would only see their trunks sticking out like a snorkel. It was like as if they were a submarine. And the one day, we were on boats, on the speed boats, and we were watching a herd of elephants come from one of the islands in the Great Zambezi River to come back to the mainland. And as they started approaching the mainland, the water obviously gets shallower and shallower. There was a crocodile that leaped out of the water and tried to bite the elephant's tail. Now, a friend of mine actually got a photo of that. I was so engrossed by what was happening, I didn't even get an opportunity to take a picture. But how cool is that? A crocodile launching for, well, the tail of an elephant. I thought that was very, very brave. That is so, so beautiful. That sunset tonight. It is really nice. And I think we might get an even better point here. I'm going to show you a mountain range too. We have to go up a little bit further to see the mountain range. It's hidden at the moment. I think we're going to get a nice view here, David. A little bit further along. And you can see that the camera is probably bouncing around a little bit, but don't worry, it's just us. There's a few corrugations on the airstrip. And I've even got some impala. Don't run away. They're racing away from us. These are cool antelope. These are called impala, and you can see they're all running together now. They're a little bit nervous. I don't know why they're frightened of us, because we won't cause them any harm. We just want to watch them. Off they go. And they're very good runners. They might actually pop out into this next gap again. We've just got to give them a couple of seconds. There they come. There they are, just those marulas. And you should see them doing big jump. Oh! David, there was an impala that ran into a tree. I'm so sorry. David, I don't know. I watched, so it was basically where David was filming. It was just a little bit to the left. And the next minute, there's one impala. David, if you go a little bit to the right, see the one standing there? There was one that ran into a tree somewhere there. It could be that one. But it hit the tree on the other side and it bounced back. That was so funny. I wonder if it wasn't her. She does look a little bit dazed, don't you think? David, and we have to find another spot for the sunset. Look through the trees. Can you see it there? Isn't that amazing? I want to see if I can get a gap quickly. There you go, David. You're going to like that one. Look at that. Now we're going to watch it disappear. And this might be the first time that some of you have ever seen an African sunset. So I hope that you are enjoying this, and we have the most beautiful sunsets as well as the sunrises here in Africa, and it's my favorite way to end the day. Though unfortunately it's not always clear skies for us out here, but luckily today there's actually just enough clouds to make for the most spectacular sunset. And you can even hear all the birds, so I'm going to let you have a listen to the birds quickly. You can hear guinea fowl, turtle doves, starlings, spider hunting wasp flying past. Lots and lots of different birds. And I don't know if you heard that bird that's going. Now if you can hear that bird, that's the turtle dove calling. And you know the leopards you were just looking at? You were looking at Karula, you were looking at Xongile and Hosana. You know what I've just realized? It sounds as like those turtle doves are calling Karula. Karula, Karula, Karula. And while speaking of those gorgeous leopards and the turtle doves calling out for Karula, it seems as though they want you back there. So let's go have a look at the spotted cats.
Well, Karula's up, everybody, and there she's going. She's going for a little walk. Now, sometimes leopards get thirsty, especially after they've been eating all day, and her son Hosana is not far away, and I think she's going to have a drink at the same place that he is. So let's follow her. I just want to quickly show you over there. Now, if you are a little bit sad, or you can get sad by a dead animal, then you need to close your eyes. But over there is an impala, and it's not alive anymore. It's not feeling any pain. She killed it very quickly earlier today, but that's what they've been eating, everybody. It is a dead impala. And I'm afraid that's how things are out here in the wilderness. And it's always a good thing, you know, to learn about things like that. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Whoops, daisies. But remember, we eat meat. And so it's sometimes a good idea for us to see what an animal looks like when it's been killed, because it makes us appreciate it when we eat meat ourselves. There she goes, just through there. Just going to ease our way around here. And Kevin, you say, what's the coolest thing I've ever seen? Kevin, you know what? You saw that little leopardess earlier on lying under the bush. And the coolest thing I've ever seen is her. I was on foot, I was walking, and we found her, and she climbed up a tree like this one next to us, and she stayed in that tree and sat and watched us while we were... Oh, look at the leopard now. She's on the tree there. This is going to be very, very beautiful. We just get into a nice position so we can see her. We're going to be very quiet, everybody. Just going to move into a place where we can see her and hopefully not disturb her at all. Now, there's another car there, and I don't want to get in his way. Oh dear. Hello, Apache Elementary. You're wondering if the leopards ever play. Sorry, I can't go forward because there's somebody sitting here and they're trying to take a picture. I'm just going to go back a bit. You're wondering if they ever play. Yes, they do play. And especially the youngsters, they really do like to play a lot. Here we go. We're going to get a lovely view here. Oh, look what I've spotted. Just before I take you back to her, there's the little male. You see over there? There's the little male. He's lying on the ground there. But before we spend too much time with him, I need you to quickly have a look over here, because that, everybody, is the most beautiful sight of a leopard I think you'll ever see. Look at her sitting there, so happy on the tree, and here comes the little males coming to join her. So Apache, schools, you were wondering about whether they play or not. I think the little one, there he goes, just in front of us. I think we're going to see them play now. I think he's going to jump up there and say hello to his mum. Isn't that cool? Isn't that wonderful, everyone? Oh, look at him climbing! Giselle, you want to know about the age of animals and how old are the animals that we watch. Well, this animal is only 11 months old, and he will eventually probably only get to about 14 years old, and his mum might get to about 18, because they live a bit longer, the females. And Giselle, the oldest animal that we look at here is the elephant. Elephants are the animals that we watch that live the longest here. They live for about 60 years, almost as long as we do, which is pretty good going for them, isn't it? This is so special, everyone. We don't see this every day. Now, Rebecca, you're looking at it now. You're looking at their bedroom. You say, where do they sleep? Rebecca, this is where they sleep. They sleep in trees sometimes. Often they sleep on the ground, though. And I can hear some interesting noises off to the side. I can hear some impala, which is one of those animals that you saw there, dead, unfortunately. I can hear them calling. And they may have seen another predator, perhaps a male leopard. Oh, look, this is too beautiful. There goes Mum to say hello to her son. Oh, she's going away or down. Isn't that beautiful? We are so lucky to see this, everyone. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's too special. 2 leopards in a tree. Haha. Just stunning. So we're going to sit here and enjoy this. And just to tell you, I mean, I hope that you will join us a number of times. But we don't only get leopards out here, of course. We get elephants. Taylor was looking for elephants today. We get lots of different creatures, 9 different kinds of antelope, 250 different kinds of birds. So that's quite special. And we've got another 13 or 15 minutes or so. So don't forget to send through your questions. It's always nice to hear from you. And we'd love to know what you're thinking about as you watch this amazing sighting. It's so special for us to be able to spend this time with leopards, everyone. Because they are the world's prince of cats. So I'm sure you've heard of the Lion King being referred to as the king of the jungle. Well, if the lion is the king, this is the prince. And for me, I could spend all day with leopards. I just think they're the most special things. Caden, you're wondering how they keep cozy. Well, Caden, if you look at their fur, you can see that it's warm. They basically are wearing a snuggly coat all the time. So they keep cozy by their coats and by snuggling up to each other. Now we're going to go around the other side and see if I can't get a nice view of him from the top of the tree there. That will be nice. So Caden, especially, maybe if one of them rolls over, you'll see they've got very long white fur on their bellies, and that's very nice for them. Keeps them very snuggly and warm on a cold winter's night. But remember that it never really gets very cold here. Probably a little bit like where you are. I don't think it ever gets very cold where you are. get a lovely view from the side now. Oh, this is going to be very special. He was... There we go. How's that? Isn't that wonderful? There they are. Very happy, very relaxed. That's Mum there underneath and her son Hosana just above that. And like I say, they've been eating all day long, and so they are very tired. But while they're having a rest here, Taylor has got one of the most special animals in Africa, and it's fighting in the water.
Hip hop hippopotamus. Hip hip hop hippopotamize. We've got lots and lots of hippos here. This is really beautiful. And I'm sure that you all know exactly where we are. And this is my absolute favorite time of the day to come and view the hippopotamus, because they are becoming very, very active. And they're going to hopefully play with each other. A couple of them have started to open up their mouths, so now we just need to watch carefully and see who's going to open up and show us their beautiful incisors and canines. David, I don't know where to look. Do you know where to look? David's he's looking up, down, left, right, all over. Look at the ones at the back though, David. They're splashing around. Now it's going to be quite far away. The ones on the left, they're fighting at the moment. There they are, those ones. There we go. Those look like youngsters that are just playing. Oh, wow. And this is, of course, in no way. Look, there's another two that side, David, on the right. These ones have come even further out of the water now. Oh, look, it's a baby. That's an unfair advantage. Look how excited they're getting. Oh, my goodness, this is amazing. This is, of course, absolutely incredible. And they're both young hippos. They're both juveniles, but you can clearly see the one on the right is much smaller. It's probably only a couple of months old. It doesn't look very big at all. A little spectator in the form of an Egyptian goose. And very much... I'd talk to them as well, Darby. Our hippo calls aren't, of course, as good as, well, the hippos. We need to do a bit of practicing. And I'm so glad that there are lots of little youngsters in this dam. And they're going to, because this is it. They've been resting most of the day, but first thing in the morning, and just before the sun completely disappears and there's no more light left, the hippos are absolutely incredible. And you can see they've all bunched up now, as those little ones seem to have stopped playing. And they're moving closer and closer to the water's edge. So they're deciding, they're planning, right, saying, right, Susan, you're going to go to the eastern corner. You're going to go into Juma. You're going to go and graze there. You can take Cynthia with you. Bob, you've been behaving quite nicely, so you don't have to go too far this time. And then Sally, John and George, well, unfortunately, you've drawn the short end of the stick and you're going to have to go all the way to Cheetah Plains if you want to eat tonight. I'm, of course, just joking. The hippos are very lucky in summer. They don't need to go too far at all because there's lots of green grass right on their doorstep. David, should we show everybody these geese, though? Look at all of these Egyptian geese down here. Can we... And we've got all the Egyptian geese at the dam. They will all come here, also having some sort of a meeting. Hello, gorgeouses. Those look like juveniles, the ones in the front. They don't look like they have their proper eye makeup on just yet. And the same, they're missing the white on their wings. So I think that they are youngsters. Now, Evelyn, you were wondering if hippos... the hippo was talking. If leopards can swim as well as hippos. Well, hippos don't really swim. They sort of sink to the bottom of the water. Those jacanas! No way! Each other. So I don't think that that would be too painful. I think that little one's ego is just going to be severely hurt. But fighting back, another one getting a nudge well. And lions can swim just as well too. No, where know where the crocodiles are? I was looking for the crocodiles, but the hippos are supposed to...
Leopards, and we'll be able to spend some time with them. If not, well, you know, this place has got some beautiful, beautiful creatures. Now, if you've never joined us before, and I don't think that's going to be the case, I'm pretty sure that all of you have been on a safari with us before, we're going to be looking for some of the big animals. We could see elephants, we could see buffalo, we could see lions and leopards maybe, but also we could see lots of little birds. And we're at the southern tip of Africa. Now I wonder, if I gave you a map of the world, could you find where Africa is? I hope you could. If you can't, ask your teachers, they will show you where it is, because we're a very, very long way from you. And you can see that I'm dressed for summer. Very nice here in summertime, and unlike you, where it's winter, of course. Now you must ask as many questions as you like. You can talk to us through your teacher, and she will tell us exactly what your questions are, or he. I think you're all being taught by she's at the moment, and we will talk about all the things that you want to regarding safari. My friend Byron is also out here. He's walking around on foot. He's very brave today. And Taylor is driving off in that direction there, and she is looking for elephants. So hopefully we will have some luck. She's probably going to go to the water holes, because that's where the elephants go when it's very hot like this. Hello, Jocelyn. You want to know how the animals survive? Well, Jocelyn, I want you to think quite carefully about how you survive. What do you think that's important in your life that enables you to survive? And I'll tell you, it's exactly the same thing. So the things that you need to survive are food. Right, good. So we can look around here, and if I'm an impala, which is a kind of an antelope, you can see that there's lots and lots for me to eat. I could be eating leaves from trees or leaves of grasses. And then the other thing you need, of course, is shelter. Now we as human beings, you can see we don't have much fur on our hands or all over our bodies, do we? And so we have to live in homes, in houses. But out here, the animals have all got fur, and that means that they don't need a home to live in at all. They've got a home here, and that's all they need to survive. So they've got shelter themselves. Sometimes they'll use a thick bush for shelter, and they've got food all around them. And then the other thing that you need is, of course, some water. You need water. And water, I'll show you some here, at this time of the year, Jocelyn, is all over the place because it's our rainy season. And so although there are not huge amounts of water around, you get little pans like that little pond over there. Can you see that little pond? There we are. And some animals will come and drink from that. So there's water, and there's food, and there's enough shelter out here. And those are exactly the same things that you need to survive. Jocelyn, you need to eat your meals twice or 3 times a day. You need a home to live in that's nice and warm. And you also, especially in wintertime, and you also need water to drink. Oh, look at that. Very special bird up there. That bird, everyone, is a batalier. A batalier is a special, special kind of a bird. And if we look at it carefully, you can see that it's trying to balance. Can you see that? You know, when you try and balance and you're walking on a rope or trying to balance on a fence or something like that, you swing your arms from side to side, and that bird does exactly the same thing because it finds it quite difficult to balance in the air. All right, let's head across to my friend Byron. He's on foot and he wants to say hello to you, and he's going to tell you what he's going to do this afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Rian. And then we've also got Herbert, who's going to be walking with us. Now we are on a bush walk, so we're walking through this area, having